the maximum level expert. She thrives in interstellar riches. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1101, Meeting Friends is Infinitely Happy 3. At this time, Chujayan put the pet box on the ground, opened the door, and released the two little foxes who were still in a cold war. Seeing this, Wen Jiu reminded them, "Brother, hey, please open the other pet box. I happen to be free now, so I will give them a room." She stuffed the selected monsters into another larger pet box, and then handed it to Chujayan, who was the oldest and strongest. This was also the reason why Zikingayu and Kyoshishi had not remembered those monsters just now. Chujayan was left behind, so it was normal for them not to remember. However, just as Wen Jiu finished speaking, Hukiki cried with a wronged look on her face, "I don't want to live with this bad fox. Master, please don't let us live together." "Huh? You're talking as if I want to live with you," Hubaba said sarcastically. "Do you think you are a star coin that everyone in Monsters love? No, you're just a stupid fox who still can't get rid of the whimpering sound." Seeing that the two little foxes were about to fight, Wen Jiu quickly coughed twice as a warning. She didn't know what special ability she had, why the people or monsters she picked up were so noisy. Although she wanted to teach Hukiki and Hubaba a lesson, considering that there were other monsters present, and today was a good day worth celebrating, she finally swallowed the words on the tip of her tongue. It happened that the monsters who were locked in another pet box at this moment all walked out of the box bravely and observed the surroundings. Wow, the house you humans live in is so big. King was still a little nervous, but she tried to stay calm and not look so strange. Can I really live here? She never thought that she would be chosen by Wen Jiu. She always thought that he would take Tu Beng Beng away. After all, Wen Jiu knew Tu Beng Beng earlier and had a good relationship with him. Who knew that she would be taken away in the end? Yes. Li Dagang on the side was so nervous that he kept swallowing his saliva. I haven't seen such a big house. The thatched palace of our clan leader is not even half as big as this one. He still couldn't believe that he was chosen by Wen Jiu and could live with him. He was not ranked among the many excellent Li. The reason why he was chosen by Li Kaojin to join the migrant work team was mainly because he was extremely strong and good at digging holes. But when it comes to architecture, design, etc., he can only be the last one. As a result, he not only mixed into the migrant work team, but was also very lucky to be selected by Wen Jiu. As expected, the way of heaven always favors fools. Just when he was immersed in his beautiful dream, a bolt from the blue suddenly fell. There are 3 empty rooms on the second floor. Hukiki and Hubaba will live in one, King and Kingran will live in one, and then Li Dagang, and you will live with Quan AC. Hearing this, he carefully glanced at Quan AC, who exuded a cold aura that said no monsters allowed. It happened that the other party also cast his eyes at him, so he saw the murderous intent that was almost condensed into substance. A strong desire to survive suddenly surged in his heart, and he decisively raised his paw and said hurriedly, I want to. However, before he finished speaking, the loud-voiced Hubaba interrupted him. "I don't want to live with Hukiki. He grinds his teeth when he sleeps, and he especially likes to snore. I can't stand it." After this, Zikingayu and Kyoshishi lowered their heads tacitly, because the two of them were about to burst out laughing. They were afraid that, if they laughed at this time, the thin-skinned Hukiki would run into a hole and escape. Chujayan didn't even bother to lift his eyelids, and continued to play shooting games on the light screen panel. As for Stephanie, she ran into the kitchen as soon as she got home, saying that she wanted to make a surprise cake for Wen Jiu. Although everyone's reactions were different, it still made Hukiki extremely embarrassed. Especially when he saw Wen Jiu's slightly raised mouth corners. He felt that his heart was broken at that moment. So he rushed towards Hubaba in anger and slapped him wildly with his claws. Hubaba naturally didn't want to be outdone, and also raised his claws to tear him in various ways. The originally harmonious and beautiful picture was destroyed by them. Seeing this, Wen Jiu stepped forward decisively, picked up a fox in one hand, and strode to the second floor. You two should be more obedient, understand? Don't fight fiercely on the first day back. As she spoke, she threw Hukiki and Hubaba into the room that Kaioshishi had prepared early in the morning. The two little foxes landed steadily on the cushions, and their arrogant auras subsided in an instant, finally settling down. Sure enough, it was time to deal with the naughty kids. You guys stay inside first. I'm going to assign rooms to other monsters. She sighed with one hand on her waist. I still have a lot of things to deal with, so you guys should be good and obedient, and don't mess around. The two little foxes have the advantage of being simple, and their biggest disadvantage is also their simplicity. Although they speak their mind and never hide what they want, they don't understand the eyes like the chestnut flower combination, and know when to quarrel and when not to quarrel. Therefore, the two foxes can easily make a fuss regardless of the occasion, which is really a headache for Wen Jiu, who is eager to deal with various matters. So she chose the simplest and roughest way to deal with it, and let the two little foxes be quiet in the room. Let's go. I'll take you four to the second floor to find out the rooms. Seeing that Hukiki and Hubaba had calmed down, she went downstairs and began to assign rooms to other monsters. You can change freely at home. Anyway, we all know what you are. But sometimes you still need to change back to your original form when you encounter special circumstances. Everything in the room has been prepared in advance. If you need anything, just tell me directly. If it is an urgent daily necessities, I will help you buy it with star coins. Hearing this, Tu King and Kingren immediately nodded in agreement. Li Dagon was stunned for a few seconds before he came to his senses and said that he understood. The only one who did not express his feelings was Kwanasi, who was walking at the end. Seeing this, Wen Jiu only subtly restrained the smile in his eyes. She had finally made up a reason to capture Huziosi, so naturally she would not let the other party find out that there was something wrong so quickly. It was just that Huziosi's pseudonym was too perfunctory. She could understand it as soon as she heard the name. She could only evaluate that the other party was scheming, but not much. Not long after the four demons entered their room, Stefana's sweet voice rang out. Zio Jiu, come and try the surprise cake I made for you. I learned from Miss Tao for 3 whole days. Sauce. I wish you all a happy holiday. I also wish you all a happy vacation. The author has delivered the first update of the day. Thank you for your support for so long. 030. Chapter 1102 Busy 1. Although Wen Jiu was happy about Stefana's actions, she didn't eat the big cake she made in the end. Because when she saw the cake, she was more surprised than happy. She had never seen such a cake that smelled like vomit and looked like it was made of various colored plasticines. In order to protect her life, she only used a spoon to dip a little bit of something that looked like cream and then pretended to lick it with her tongue. Although she didn't really taste it, she was very painful just by smelling it. She felt that Stephanie should not learn to make cakes and that she should join the weapon refiners to make weapons. Presumably, with Stephanie's outstanding talent, she would definitely become the next master of biochemical weapons. Facts have proved that she was right. Zikingayu, Kaioshishi and a group of monsters all tasted the cake. Then she heard these people and monsters wailing all night, and the sound of the toilet flushing continued until dawn. Did you two sleep in the living room last night? TSK, how pitiful. I told you not to eat that cake. Chujayan didn't eat anything last night, so he woke up early in the morning with hunger and wanted to go to the kitchen to find some snacks to fill his stomach. But he just walked to the first floor and saw Kaioshishi and Zikingayu lying in the middle of the living room. If he hadn't seen their chests rising and falling, he would have rushed upstairs to find Wen Jiu. After the words fell, Zikingayu said weakly, "Good morning, brother Hei." "Morning," he replied with a smile. "Do you need to take medicine?" The other party just raised his hand and shook it with difficulty. No, we ate it last night." Zikingayu and Kaioshishi are not fools. When they realized something was wrong last night, they quickly took out the medicine from the medicine box and took it. However, it didn't work at all. Stefana's cake was too toxic, and it overwhelmed the advanced intergalactic medicine. Fortunately, they had no other symptoms except diarrhea, so the two of them managed to hold on until they collapsed in the living room. Morning. Damn. Wen Jiu had just walked downstairs sleepily when she saw two corpses lying in the middle of the living room, which frightened her awake in an instant. Fortunately, the next second, Chu Jian, who was drinking milk leisurely, explained, "Don't worry, they are not dead." Hearing this, her tense nerves finally relaxed. For a second, she really thought that Stephanie's cake had poisoned Zikingayu and Kaioshishi. After all, Stephanie was not incapable of doing such a thing. "I'll find some medicine for you too." She rubbed her temples before walking a little further. "After you take the medicine, go back upstairs and have a good rest. You don't have to accompany me to the stray animal shelter and the hospital." She felt that Zikingayu and Kaioshishi were in their current state and could not last to accompany her for a busy day outside, so it would be better for them to have a good rest at home. After saying that, Zikingayu raised her hand with great effort. "No, Gioji. You finally came back. We must accompany you more. Sorry, I have to leave you first." He felt a surge of power coming, which forced him to stand up quickly from the floor and then rushed into the bathroom as fast as possible. He was very regretful now. Why did he force himself to eat Stephanie's cake for the so-called politeness? Is that a cake? It's clearly witch's poison. And it's the most poisonous one. "Sorry, Jiu." Kaioshishi, with the support of Wen Jiu, moved from the floor to the sofa and collapsed. "I can't accompany you today. I hope you don't get angry." Although she expected that Stephanie's cake was problematic, she didn't expect it to be so poisonous. She thought she could get better by taking a few pills, but it didn't stop after a night. If God gave her another chance, she would definitely refuse Stephanie's cake. Hearing this, Wen Jiu first took out a bottle of pills from the Ziji space, and then smiled and replied, "It's okay, Brother Henny will accompany me. You and Zhao Bangli should have a good rest at home, and I will come back to make some porridge for you in the evening." This bottle of pills was made from the remaining herbs and spiritual medicines when she was refining pills for Shenzing. It can detoxify and nourish the body. "You and Zhao Bangli each take one pill in this small porcelain bottle," she said, and then took out another box. "And this is the anti-diarrhea medicine developed by AOS Pharmaceuticals. The formula is given to Zizu by me, so you can take it without worry. If it was just ordinary diarrhea, taking some anti-diarrhea medicine would be fine." But she thought Stephanie's cake was really poisonous, so she took out the precious pills and gave them to Kaioshishi. Not only that, she also gave some instructions before leaving. Let the other party share the remaining pills with the monsters, who ate the cake after her physical condition improved a little. At the same time, she also used a food processor to set a timer for a pot of porridge, so that when these unfortunate guys get better, they can eat some mild and nourishing food. After doing all this, she took Chu Jian to the stray animal shelter. Although these monsters are new to the human world, they don't like to run around and mess around. Therefore, after Wen Jiu and others left yesterday, the monsters stayed in their rooms obediently and didn't go out all day. Some were reviewing the federal language they had learned before, fearing that they would make mistakes when they were on duty. Others were carefully fiddling with the communicator to report their safety to their tribesmen far away on the desolate planet. In short, when Wen Jiu arrived at the dormitory building where the monsters lived, he saw a peaceful scene. So she only called out a few leading monsters of the monsters, and after a simple exhortation for them to continue to adapt to the environment, she took Chu Jian straight to the hospital, where Yuruman was. Yuruman's physical condition has improved a lot during this period, and she had her last skin repair surgery a few days ago. "I will be able to go for rehabilitation training in 2 days, so you don't have to worry about my situation. Just do whatever you want to do." She looked at Wen Jiu, who was thinner than before, and her eyes were full of pity for a moment. "But no matter how busy you are, you have to eat well. Look at how thin you have been recently, and your cheeks are a little sunken." Hearing this, Wen Jiu subconsciously raised his hand and patted his face. "Really? I think it's okay. Isn't it all meat?" When she saw the other party's action, she couldn't help but smile with her eyes curved. "You are still as cute as before." The two talked about daily life for a long time until Zhu Wangming pushed the door open and brought the topic back to business. Today's second update has also been delivered once again. I wish everyone a happy holiday. I hope everyone is happy every day. 030. Chapter 1103 Busy 2. The procedures for acquiring the planet will be completed soon. You can go to the relevant affine department with me in 2 days and fill in the last step of the contract. At that time, the star certificate will be directly bound to your star network account, and your star network will automatically download an application for management. You can manage the planet in any way you want on the star network. For example, applying to develop routes, star tracks, or if you want to build a port. These can be done on the star network. It's just that the application process is more complicated because you are still a minor, so all your operations need your guardian, that is, your beautiful and lovely mother Yu, to pass on her star network before you can proceed to the next step. Zhu Wangming explained to Wen Jiu very patiently, as if he was afraid that the other party didn't know how to deal with it. He spent a long time with Wen Jiu, and he understood Yu Ruman's feelings. Simply put, it's the feeling of teaching a daughter. He hopes that the other party is smart and knows everything, so that he will feel more face when he speaks out. He also hopes that the other party can be a little dumber and accept tutoring, so that he can show more skills. Also, I need to confirm with you again, he said, and pointed to the light screen panel. Do you really want to name this planet the Fortune Star? When he first saw the name, he thought he had seen it wrong. As a result, he later confirmed it with Ming Yihan, and found out that it was Wen Jiu who chose it. After he finished speaking, Wen Jiu nodded. Yes, I think this name is good. Point to you, sure. His hand trembled slightly as he clicked on the light screen panel. I want to ask, do you know that once the name of the planet is confirmed, you must pay 500,000 star coins to modify it? This time, after he finished speaking, the other party did not answer immediately. It can be seen that Wen Jiu is struggling with these 500,000 star coins. So he waited patiently while clicking on the light screen panel. It happened that he had something else to show Wen Jiu, so he could wait for the other party to finish thinking. After a cup of tea, Wen Jiu took a deep breath and replied, forget it, why not just name it Desolate Star? The reason why she changed her mind was, on the one hand, because she was used to calling it Desolate Star, and on the other hand, she didn't want to spend money to change the name in the future. Please, she didn't even want to spend 5,000 star coins to change the image of the star network before, let alone spend 500,000 star coins to change the name of the planet in the future. Although she was very confident in her naming skills, she thought for a while and still felt that Desolate Star sounded better than Fortune Star. So, in order not to spend 500,000 star coins to change the name, she decided to name it Desolate Star. Compared with Fortune Star proposed by Wen Jiu before, everyone also agreed to use Desolate Star, so the name of the planet was decided. It only takes a few more days for Wen Jiu to upgrade to a real Star Master. By the way, Zio Jiu, do you still remember the land on Brick Star? Yu Ruman just remembered that there was still this matter that had not been dealt with. I have completed the process of applying for the land certificate here. When you go to the relevant department to handle the final procedures for the Desolate Star, you can also apply for the land certificate for Brick Star. After speaking, Chu Jian, who was sitting aside eating an apple, couldn't help but sigh. You were still a poor child last year, but you have become a rich man this year. Here are both the star rights certificate and the land certificate. Excuse me, rich lady when can I get a raise? Wen Jiu sneered when she heard this. You haven't worked in the store recently, and I still pay you a salary every month. Isn't that enough? If you want a salary increase, let's talk about it later. I'm so poor that I can't even afford breakfast. In fact, she is very good to her friends. For example, Chu Jian and Stephanie, who were not in the store recently, she still paid them the same salary. As for Kao Shishi and Zikingayu, who went to the store once a week to help, she paid them double the salary. Although she is stingy, she is very generous to her friends. Yes, I know you are poor. Chu Jian was just joking, and he didn't really mean to raise his salary. Hey, poor little guy, do you want an apple? After saying this, Yu Rumen and Zhu Wangming smiled at each other. To be honest, the two had never thought that they would like to be lively one day. It was not until they got along with these children for a long time that they realized that being lively can make people happier. Hey, Xianachu, your bracelet is pretty good looking. Where did you buy it? Yu Rumen was busy talking to Wen Jiu just now and didn't notice that Chu Jiadan's wrist with bulging veins had a beautiful bracelet with exquisite workmanship. Hearing this, Chu Jiadan rarely showed off. This bracelet was given by Zhao Jiu and she made it herself. In fact, he wanted to show off to Zikingayu and others yesterday, but those friends focused on Wen Jiu and then were poisoned by Stephanie's cake. So he rehearsed the show-off action in his mind 100 times, and finally he could only show it in front of Yu Rumen and Zhu Wangming. Really? It's pretty good. Yu Rumen looked at the bracelet with black as the main color and several translucent gems, and for a moment she felt like she couldn't take her eyes off it. In fact, she had seen quite a few beautiful gems in the past, but she had never seen such a gem that looked like jade, but was not jade. Hearing this, Wen Jiu immediately took out a red box from the wisdom ring space. Such a beautiful thing. How could I miss Teacher Yu's? In order to avoid the competition of the monsters during the voyage, she went into the studio on the spacecraft and worked hard to make bracelets. Because she had a lot of free time, she not only made it for Chu Jian, but also for several female friends. It's just that spiritual stones are very precious, especially on planet 3047 where there is no spiritual energy. Therefore, the spiritual stones she made bracelets for Yu Rumen, Kaioshishi and others were all medium grade spiritual stones that were not spiritual enough, but had beautiful appearances. How is it? I picked out the red spiritual stone for you. She took out the fiery red bracelet and shook it. Although Yu Rumen had completed the skin repair surgery, she is still in the recovery period and needs to apply ointment all over her body. So she can't wear any jewelry for the time being and can only stare at this beautiful bracelet. Seeing this, Zhu Wangming couldn't help but raise the corner of his mouth. Okay, your eyes will be full of stars if you keep looking at it. Wait a few days and you won't need to apply ointment. Can't you wear this bracelet? So don't worry. Take good care of your body first, okay? Got it. You are more nagging than your father. Yu Rumen glared at Zhu Wangming first, and then looked at Wen Jiu with a smile. Zhao Jiu, what is the spiritual stone you just mentioned? Is it a new gem on the market, or a specialty, or from the Desolate Star? Wen Jiu remembered that Yu Rumen also knew something about gems when he heard this. So she first explained what a spiritual stone was, and then quickly took out the pendant given by Mirage Star River. Source today's third update has also been successfully delivered. Please check it out. Little Angels. 030. Chapter 1104 Busy 3. Yu Rumen looked at it for a long time, but couldn't tell what kind of gem or jade was inlaid on the pendant. How about this? I have a friend who is quite knowledgeable about gems. I will recommend his Star Network account to you later. Although she likes to buy gem jewelry and recognizes most of the gems on the market, her research in this area is still not comparable to that of the real master. It just so happens that she has a friend who studies gems, so she can ask him to help Wen Jiu. Wen Jiu agreed to it as soon as he heard it, and then she chatted with Yu Rumen for a while, and then took Chu Jiadan out of the hospital and took the floating bus to the East Lake Scenic area. It was noon when they arrived, so they went directly to Lao Chu's restaurant. After getting off the bus, it just so happened that Chu Jiadan had been away from home for such a long time, and it was time for him to come back to accompany his grandfather. Stinky boy, who told you to sit here? Go and peel the garlic quickly. Because Chu Jiadan informed Lao Chu in advance, Lao Chu did not open for business at noon today and just waited quietly for his grandson to come back. Why do you want me to go? Chu Jiadan grumbled in dissatisfaction. Grandpa, I've only been busy all morning. Can't you let me take a break? He usually acts unruly outside and only acts like a spoiled child in front of old Chu. However, the other party didn't buy his tricks at all and picked up the rolling pin and tapped him gently. Zhao Jiu is the guest. If you don't go, who will go? Hurry up and peel the garlic. I bought some fresh scallops and crispy fish this morning, just in time to make garlic scallops. and garlic crispy fish for Xiao Jiu to try. Hearing this, he couldn't help but take a deep breath. Grandpa, I'm your grandson. I know you are my grandson, so don't grumble to me. Old Chew picked up the rolling pin with some disdain and tapped him on the back gently. Hurry up, if you don't go, you won't have lunch at noon. When he heard this, he had to stand up and stride towards the kitchen. If he had known, he would not have come back with Wen Jiu. When he came back by himself, he would have been treated well. Not to mention asking him to peel garlic. Old Chew did not even let him pour water by himself, fearing that he would be tired and suffer. It's a pity that no matter how advanced the technology is, there is no medicine for regret. After Chu Jian entered the kitchen to work, Old Chew pulled Wen Jiu to chat about family matters. Little Chew doesn't bully you, does he? He is a kind-hearted child, but he likes to hide all his emotions, making others mistakenly think that he is difficult to get along with. Hearing this, Wen Jiu just smiled and said no. Chu Jian usually doesn't dare to bully her, it's only her who bullies others. Okay. As for whether Chu Jian bullies others, it's hard to say. I heard from Dr. Zhu that your mother is still in the hospital, so I picked a lot of herbs on the mountain in my hometown. Now it's ready. Remember to take them when you leave later. These herbs are better than the medicine in the hospital. The elderly always have their own set of principles, and they believe in these principles. So Wen Jiu didn't say anything to refute, but just thanked him cheerfully and took out the gift box. When visiting someone, it's polite to give something. Although Lao Chu refused her again and again, she still forced it in. Alas, you kid. The other party smiled helplessly. Why are you being polite to me? Seeing this, she just put her hands behind her back. It's just a little gift. Please accept it. Lao Chu wanted to refuse again when he heard this, but Chu Jian came out at this time and said that the garlic had been peeled and the garlic paste had been prepared. He had no choice but to put the gift box aside and then went into the kitchen to cook lunch. Crispy fish is a seafood unique to planet 3047. It has a certain similarity with a balone, but it tastes more fresh, sweet and soft than a balone. Therefore, the residents of planet 3047 like crispy fish more than a balone. Lao Chu cooks very quickly, and lunch is ready in a short time. Here, Xiao Jiu, you must eat more crispy fish. He picked up a hot garlic crispy fish for Wen Jiu. This is very nutritious. You are young and still growing, so you must eat more to make up for all kinds of nutrients. Seeing this, Chu Jian couldn't help but joked. Grandpa is right. Xiao Jiu needs to eat more to grow taller. Thank you, Grandpa Chu. Wen Jiu thanked Lao Chu first and picked up another crispy fish for Chu Jian. Brother, you should eat more too. Don't let me be taller than you. After she finished speaking, she tasted the crispy fish. The meat is tender and soft, and the juice will burst out when you take a bite, which makes people extremely happy when chewing. The taste is sweet and spicy. The sweetness is the unique sweetness of seafood, and the spiciness is the spiciness of the garlic that activates the taste buds. She ate and praised, making Lao Chu so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. In fact, she is still very good at pleasing people, but she is usually too lazy to show her skills. After a meal, Lao Chu was overjoyed. He even stuffed a large bag of fresh fruit into Wen Jiu's pocket when they left, and told Chu Jian to take care of his health. Of course, he still gave Chu Jian some advice. After all, Chu Jian was his only grandson, and he couldn't really ignore him. But Chu Jian was still thinking about the different treatment from old Chu, and he kept joking about it on the way to Liu Sanji's store. That can't be helped. I'm just so popular. Wen Jiu glanced at Chu Jian speechlessly. But your grandfather is just polite to me. He didn't really ignore you. To be honest, this is the first time I know you can act like a spoiled child. I suggest you do more in the future, so that I can see more, okay? It has to be said that this kind of Chu Jian made her feel more intimate. Because Chu Jian kept his emotions in his heart most of the time, she sometimes felt that he was a little distant and close. So she didn't hate Chu Jian like this, and even thought that he was quite good like this. At least it was more real to get along with him. TSK, I'm not someone who will act like a spoiled child easily. Do you think I'm a little chestnut? Although Chujayan tried his best to hide his emotions, his upward raised mouth corners still exposed him. But you are right. You are indeed loved by everyone. After all, who doesn't like such a cute little Wen Jiu? As he spoke, he stretched out his hand and pinched Wen Jiu's cheek. It seems that teacher Yu is right. The flesh on your face is indeed less than before. He was not dissatisfied with Wen Jiu in the first place, so he didn't really take this matter to heart. Climb. The other party directly knocked his hand away. If you pinch me again in the future, be careful that I will chop off your claws. The two of them walked and played like this, and successfully arrived at Liu Sanji's jewelry store. Today's first update has been successfully delivered. Thank you little angels for your support. 030. Whisper, I want to take a break during the holiday, so I will post one update in the evening, and I will make up for the remaining 2 updates during the day. I hope the little angels can understand. Love you _ If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1105 Busy 4. Actually, after the Liu family got into trouble, Sanji Liu wanted to move to another planet and leave this place. That made her sad. But when she was about to submit the relocation procedures, she suddenly felt reluctant to leave, which made her unable to click the submit option. So after she struggled for a long time, she temporarily gave up the relocation and decided to stay here for a while. Who knew that more than half a year had passed? Compared with moving to other planets, she wanted to stay here, so she gave up the idea of relocation. Oh, I told you not to move, but you insisted that you didn't want to stay here. This fact proves that I was right. For example, the little daughter of Wang Wu's family. I said before that his daughter had a bad vision, and the son-in-law was a useless person at first glance, and Wang Wu thought I was saying sour words. As a result, his son-in-law lost this amount in business some time ago. At this moment, Sister Chen was in Sanji Liu's store, cracking melon seeds and chatting about gossip. So when Wen Jiu and Chu Jian came, they saw the funny look of Sister Chen gesturing with her hands when she was excited. Seeing this, Chu Jian silently grabbed the corner of Wen Jiu's clothes and said, "Why don't we come back later? I don't want to stay with Sister Chen." Although he knew that Sister Chen was not a bad person, he still didn't want to listen to her gossip. Of course, it's not that he hates gossip. It's mainly because Sister Chen talks too much. Once she opens her mouth, she can talk endlessly, which makes his ears hurt. The reason why he can tolerate the noise of Zikingayu and Kaioshishi is because he was used to being teased by Sister Chen in the past. Although I really want to agree to you, it seems a little late to leave now. When Jiu looked at Sister Chen, who was sitting in the store and waving at her, and could only maintain a polite smile. As soon as she finished speaking, Sister Chen came to open the door very enthusiastically. "Isn't this Zio Jiu? Where have you been during this period? I haven't seen you for a long time. Did you go back to the college to study?" Seeing this, she had no choice but to walk into the store and greet the enthusiastic Sister Chen. When the other party learned that she was looking for Liu Sanji, she tactfully stepped aside after a few pleasantries. To be honest, this was something she had not expected. She thought that Sister Chen would keep talking to her like before. So she quickly told Liu Sanji her purpose and put the pendant on the counter. However, after the other party used various instruments to detect it for a long time, he still couldn't tell what it was. "Zio Jiu, do you mind if I take some photos and videos for other people?" Even though Liu Sanji has been in the gem business for so many years, she has never seen a gem as translucent as jade. "The supplier I work with is from Milestar. He must have seen more gems than me. Let him help take a look and maybe he can get the answer." After getting Wen Jiu's consent, she quickly opened the light screen panel and took many photos and videos of the supplier from Milestar so that the other party could give her an answer based on these. It happened that the supplier was free at this moment, so he called her on a video call. So the two of them studied together what kind of gem was inlaid on the pendant that Wen Jiu brought. Time passed by minute until the evening. They came to a conclusion. Sorry, Zio Wen, we can only see that what is inlaid on it is not a gem because it has not been polished or polished by any machine, as if it was born like this. Hearing this, Wen Jiu did not feel frustrated, but only thanked Liu Sanji and the supplier, because she had been prepared for this. After all, this thing came from the desolate planet, so it might not exist in the human world. The reason why she took it out for identification was mainly to confirm this guess. Since even Liu Sanji, who has been doing gem business for many years, and the supplier who has been dealing with ore, could not recognize it, she estimated that this thing really did not exist in the human world. So she took the pendant back to the Ziggy space and transferred a sum of star coins to Liu Sanji's star network account as a reward for her hard work. Just as she was about to leave with Chujian, she suddenly heard the supplier ask in a gentle voice, "Miss, I wonder if you have any idea of selling this pendant? I'm willing to buy it at a high price. Sorry, this is a gift from my friend. I won't sell it." After she bowed politely to apologize, she took Chujian out. "This pendant is something from the White Tiger Cave. You know, the other party will only put treasures in the cave." Even if she didn't know what it was, she knew that the value of this thing must be very high, so she couldn't sell it. After the two left, Liu Sanji spoke up. "Old Huo, I have a good relationship with that girl, so don't think about stealing her love. Look at what you said. Am I that kind of person?" Huo Yuan? Huo Yuan frowned in dissatisfaction. "I just asked casually. Don't take it seriously, okay?" Liu Sanji smiled and replied, "When she heard this, don't I know your temper? Never mind. Anyway, don't be tempted by her pendant. That girl is a rich person. You can't break open her door with star coins." If it weren't for helping Wen Jiu find the answer, she wouldn't bother to argue with Huo Yuan so much. Although Huo Yuan is her cooperative supplier, his pursuit of top quality gems can be said to be a bit obsessive. It's not like he hasn't squandered hundreds of millions or even billions of star coins for top quality gems before. So she told Huo Yuan not to go after Wen Jiu. I know. Huo Yuan raised his hand impatiently. Huo Yuan, I'm not so wicked as to rob a little girl, so stop nagging me." He then cut off the video call with Liu Sanji, clicked on the pictures she had sent him before, and began to appreciate them carefully. Although he wanted to buy the pendant for a search, he was not crazy enough to rob a child. After appreciating it carefully for a while, he sent another message to Liu Sanji, asking her to push the little girl's star network account to him. He didn't take action to rob things, but it didn't mean he couldn't see them. So when Jiu, who had just got on the floating bus and clicked on the light curtain panel, received a new friend request and a message from Liu Sanji. She was going to go to the East Lake Mall with Chujian to see how Tao was doing and meet Miss Tao and Tao Xiao again. Although Miss Tao and Tao Xiao were just bionic robots, they had a very intelligent emotion generation system. They would feel some longing for friends like Wen Jiu, just like real people. Today's second update has also been successfully delivered. Please check it out, little angels. 030. Whisper. Yesterday's first update was partially modified _ I would also like to thank all the little angels for their understanding. I wish you all a happy holiday. 030. Chapter 1106 Tao Situation 1. Although Wen Jiu knew that Tao's business had always been booming, she had never thought it would be so popular. She had just walked into the entrance of Donghu Mall with Chujian when they encountered a line that seemed to have no end. They asked someone and found out that this was actually a line of people waiting to enter Tao to buy things. "It seems that we should arrange the opening of a branch store," she whispered to Chujian as she walked forward. "Otherwise, if it continues like this, the line will have to be outside the door." Although it was a happy thing that the store was full of customers, she still had to consider long-term development. After all, waiting in line for a long time could easily lead to some minor conflicts. Before she and Chujian even reached the entrance of Tao, they heard a very noisy noise. "I told you I have plenty of star coins." Don't try to sell me like a hungry pig here. Hurry up and take out your mooncakes. I'm sorry, sir. The mooncakes are really sold out. This is a limited time product of our TOIAO. We stopped selling them the day before yesterday, and they won't be sold again in the short term. They will be put on the shelves again during the Mid-Autumn Festival next year. Do you know who I am? I'm your boss's friend. I can make you lose your job if I say a word to him. You're just a stinky worker. Don't be so shameless. I'm really sorry. We are also following the rules. If we make things convenient for you, how can we explain to other customers? There was a middle-aged man with bared teeth and claws at the door, yelling at the clerk in TOIAO uniform. The words were unbearable to hear, and spit flew everywhere. The customer standing next to him couldn't help but frown. Seeing this, Wen Jiu walked over decisively, but the man didn't take her seriously. The other party was still pointing at the TOIAO clerk and scolding him. Hurry up, I spend millions of star coins a minute, you know? I don't have time to continue talking nonsense with you. Pack 10 boxes of snowy mooncakes for me, and 15 boxes of fresh meat mooncakes and pineapple cakes, all in the most luxurious packaging of your store, and then send them to the trunk of the hover car. Compared with the sturdy man with a fierce face, the thin female clerk was like a little white rabbit, as if she was going to be eaten in the next second. So many customers standing in line at the door couldn't stand it anymore and spoke up for justice. The shop assistant has already told you that they don't sell mooncakes anymore. Why are you still making a fuss about it? Aren't you ashamed? TOIAO has put up a sign at the door a long time ago. It clearly states that mooncakes are only available for a limited time. You've missed the time and are still making trouble. Can you please have some shame? Can you get the security guards in the mall to kick this troublemaker out immediately and stop us from queuing up to buy things? You're so old, and yet you still have the nerve to bully little girls? I've explained it to you for a long time. Why won't you listen? Seeing this, the man who was making trouble couldn't help but yell, "You are all fools who have fallen for hunger marketing. What limited time sale? These stores use this to hype up the popularity and to fool you. Supermarkets are still selling mooncakes, so why doesn't this store sell them? It's just to make you want them, but can't get them, so that they can hype up the mooncakes in this store and make more money the next time they sell them." After the words fell, many of the customers who had been speaking up for justice before fell into deep thought. Seeing this, Kiwi, who was yelled at to the point of tears, quickly said, "No, no. Our store has always launched products according to seasons or festivals. The Mid-Autumn Festival has passed for more than a month, so it is naturally not suitable to continue selling mooncakes. That's why we put new products, osmanthus cake and osmanthus wine balls on the shelves, so that everyone can adapt to the temporary removal of mooncakes and let everyone taste more desserts." However, just as she finished speaking, the middle-aged man scolded, "Why can't we sell mooncakes after the Mid-Autumn Festival? I think you are doing it on purpose, deliberately making things difficult for me here." She was yelled at and almost cried. Just as she wanted to continue explaining, she saw a pretty girl coming forward. Seeing this, she quickly took a deep breath and adjusted her state. "Excuse me, miss, please go to the back to line up." Because she had never seen the real boss of TOIAO, but had only heard his name a few times, she didn't know that the person in front of her was Wen Jiu. "Thank you for your hard work. Go back to the restroom in the store and relax. I will take care of the next things." The voice of the strange girl was very gentle, which inexplicably made her feel warm. But she didn't understand why the other party said that. Could it be that this was a new employee? No, although there were many customers coming to TOIAO, the existing staff was enough. Besides, Zizia would not hire a minor, let alone arrange someone to come without saying a word. Just when Kiwi was thinking about it, she saw the girl in front of her suddenly flick the whip and whip the middle-aged man fiercely. Seeing this, she couldn't help but exclaimed. However, before she could go up to dissuade him, the girl said coldly, "You are making trouble in my store. Don't you know how much you weigh? Since you like to shout so much, I will let you shout enough." The next second, the man who was so arrogant before was whipped and screamed in pain and ran around like a frightened wild boar. "Why are you running? Didn't you say you know the boss? Hurry up and say hello to the boss." Wen Jiu asked with a sneer while whipping him, but as the boss, how come I don't know you? She hated people who talked nonsense the most, and she was also annoyed by people who yelled at the clerks. If she hadn't come to TOIAO today to check the situation, I'm afraid those customers and clerks would have mistakenly thought that she, as the boss, really knew the man who was making trouble. By then, not only would her reputation be ruined by this man, but also TOIAO, which she had managed with great difficulty. It's easy to discredit, but it's hard to clarify. She knew this point very well. So she wouldn't let this man off easily, and she had to make him suffer. He hit someone. He hit someone. TOIAO's clerk hit someone. Ouch. Because Wen Jiu was merciless, the man was beaten to pieces in a short while, and his exposed limbs were covered with scars. Seeing this, Kiwi Wei quickly spoke out to stop them. Miss, stop fighting. Although she was not sure whether the girl in front of her was the boss, she knew that she must not let her fight like this. However, as soon as she finished speaking, she saw Miss Tao hurriedly walked out of the counter and walked towards her quickly. Oops, she is not really going to be fired, is she? Today's third update is also made up. Thanks again to the little angels. Love you 030. Chapter 1107 TOIAO Situation 2. Miss Tao had been busy making desserts before, and she really couldn't spare the time to help Kiwi Wei. Because there were too many customers coming to the store to buy desserts, plus there were still a lot of orders from TOIAO's online store, she and Tao had to work all day every day to barely keep TOIAO's business going. So it's not that she didn't want to help Kiwi Wei, but she didn't have the free time to come out. The other employees were the same, and they had no time to come out to deal with it. They had to work non-stop to ensure the experience of the guests. It was because of this that the man was extremely arrogant and kept bullying the weak Kiwi Wei. Wei, come here. Miss Tao took out a small towel and wiped the tears of the panicked Kiwi Wei. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have let you deal with it alone outside. Kiwi Wei shook her head when she heard this. No. It was me who failed to deal with that guest. It was my turn to be the receptionist today, and I should have dealt with everything outside. Seeing that the girl was still whipping, she quickly looked at Miss Tao and said anxiously, we have to go up and pull them apart. We can't let them continue to make trouble like this. So, I will go over and continue to persuade them. Please take care of the other guests. Before she finished her words, she was pulled into the store by Miss Tao and went straight to the employee lounge. The one outside is Miss Wen, so you don't have to worry about anything. The other party directly revealed the identity of the girl. You stay in the lounge first. I have to go outside to appease the other guests. Miss Tao left the lounge after she finished speaking and helped her do the unfinished work. But the other party's words were like a thunderbolt, and she didn't come back to her senses for a long time. At the same time, the troublemaker had been subdued by the security guards called by Chu Jian, while Wen Jiu put away his whip and stood aside coldly. Because Wen Jiu had shown no mercy when he attacked, the man's clothes were torn to pieces by the whip, and his fat body was trembling with bloody wounds. Such a scene was really scary, and many customers who were still in line turned their eyes away. Some customers complained in a low voice, thinking that Wen Jiu's behavior was too much. Even if the male customer started the fight, he shouldn't have been beaten like that. Who doesn't feel a little humiliated when working outside these days? He's really hypocritical. Yeah, look at how he was beaten. Who dares to come to TOIAO to buy things in the future? If they accidentally offend the waiter, won't they end up like this man? I feel horrible just thinking about it. Alas, such a popular store, how come the waiter has no professional qualities and can't even handle the most basic troubles? He didn't come out to stop the beating. Who dares to come to TOIAO to buy dessert in the future? Although the man was a bit arrogant, there was no need to beat people like this. The girl is young, but she is very arrogant. I don't know whose child she is, so uneducated. Hearing this, Chu Jian's eyes flashed with murderous intent. So he first leaned into Wen Jiu's ear and whispered a few words, then walked to the team to find those talkative customers. I'm sorry, please leave the line. After he finished speaking, the customers who were pointed at were stunned at first, and then they started to make a fuss. I've been waiting in line here for more than half an hour. Why do you want me to leave the line? I just said a few words to that waiter. Are the waiters at Teo Iao so fragile? You can't scold them, and you can't say anything? That's right. I haven't asked Teo Iao for mental damages yet. I came to Teo Iao to buy desserts, not to watch people get beaten up on the spot. Everyone, come and see. What kind of people are the waiters at Teo Iao? We just chatted for a few words, and they picked up brooms to drive us away. I think the store will go bankrupt sooner or later. Who are you? What identity do you have to chase me away? I won't leave today. If you have the guts, beat me up too. Then I will let everyone know that Teo Iao's waiters actually beat up customers. Let's see who dares to come to this black store to buy things. Chu Jian was surrounded and scolded by these customers without panic. He just smiled and watched these people jump up and down in anxiety. Since Teo Iao opened in Donghu Shopping Mall, the number of customers coming to Donghu Shopping Mall has increased day by day. Therefore, he was surrounded by people in 3 circles after standing there for a short while. Seeing this, he spoke slowly. Let me introduce myself first. I'm the deputy manager of Teo Iao. I'm very sorry to affect the good mood of all customers today, so I will give every customer who queues up to enter the store according to the regulations a gift of our newly launched sweet scented osmanthus cake, as well as a coupon for unconditional redemption of 500 star coins. As soon as he finished speaking, the customers who were dissatisfied but did not speak out before all relaxed their brows. Even the customers who were pointed out by him lowered their noisy voices a little. It can be seen that the tactic of first courtesy and then force is still effective, and most customers are not really affected. So he raised his mouth with satisfaction and then continued, I believe everyone knows that Teo Iao is full of customers every day, so it is inevitable that our employees will be careless in their busy schedule. I also have a certain responsibility for this, and I hope that all customers can understand. Because of his excellent attitude and no faults at all, coupled with Zhang Junmo's beautiful face and a smile like spring breeze, the dissatisfaction in the hearts of many customers gradually disappeared. Here I want to share with you a good news. Teo Iao will open at least 3 branches next month, so that everyone will have more choices in the future. After the words fell, the customers all looked very happy. There were also many customers who asked Chu Jian loudly, wanting to know where the branches would be opened. He patiently answered these customers' questions first, and after everyone's attention was successfully diverted, he began to deal with those talkative customers. In fact, he didn't want to take care of this matter at first. After all, he was not a nosy person. It was mainly because he heard someone taking the opportunity to scold Wen Jiu that he decisively stood up to help Wen Jiu deal with it. So after most of the customers went back to line up again, he looked at the customer who said that Wen Jiu was ill-mannered. Madam, congratulations on being blacklisted by Teo Iao. From now on, no matter it is Teo Iao's main store, branch store or online store, no one will accept your purchase needs. As for the rest of you, all Teo Iao stores will not accept your purchase needs within 3 years, so you don't have to waste your time queuing here. Jiang, today's first update has been delivered smoothly. Please check it out. Little Angels 030. Chapter 1108 Teo Iao Situation 3. Although the customers named by Chu Jian were very dissatisfied and made a particularly loud noise, which attracted the attention of other customers again, no matter how they threw a tantrum, it was useless. Because Chu Jian had coaxed other customers before, and he also explained why he refused to buy from these people, so no one was willing to help these customers at all. There were even customers who were annoyed by the noise and went to the mall management to ask them to kick out these unruly customers. So no matter how dissatisfied the customers who were blacklisted by Chu Jian were, they could only follow the management to leave Donghu Mall in disgrace. As for the male customer, who was beaten into a bear by Wen Jiu, he was taken to the lounge on the 2nd floor by the security guard. There would be professionals to clean up there, so Wen Jiu didn't need to do anything himself. After all, the bullied employee was sent by Ziziu, so the other party would help her deal with the rest of the matter. And now she only needed to enter Teo Iao and find the bullied employee to talk to. She learned from Miss Tao that the employee was called Kiwiwi, a very conscientious girl. So she made a cup of calming tea and then entered the staff lounge. As Miss Tao said, Kiwiwi was a conscientious girl and she apologized repeatedly when she saw her. After she said that she really didn't care at all, Kiwiwi began to ask about the work situation. For example, how the male customer who made trouble before was dealt with, and how other frightened customers were appeased. Don't worry, it has been handled properly. Wen Jiu handed the calming tea to Kiwiwi, so you just need to have a good rest and adjust your state. After the words fell, the other party first thanked her and then took the calming tea. I'm really sorry, I didn't solve this emergency perfectly today. Miss Wen, you can punish me according to the regulations. But I have a small request. I hope you don't blame Miss Tao. She left her post without permission to help me. Wen Jiu couldn't help but be stunned for a moment when she heard this. She didn't seem to have set rules for Tao Yao, and she wouldn't punish her for leaving her post. So what Kiwiwi said should be the store rules set by Ziziu after she left. After thinking it through, she came back to her senses and replied, don't worry, I won't punish you, nor will I blame Miss Tao. Because you have all fulfilled your duties, so I don't think there is anything to punish. But in the future, I hope you can learn to be polite before using force. If the customer keeps pestering, then you can go find the security personnel and kick the other party out directly. Don't think that doing so will affect Taoiao's reputation. As long as you are right, you don't have to worry about this problem. You work here, not be a slave here. Although you are a service staff of Taoiao, you don't have to provide services to everyone. For people like today who come to make trouble, it is the greatest respect for you not to give him 2 slaps. So next time you meet such a person, remember to bring out your hard temper. She is not blaming Kiwiwi, she just hopes that the other party understands that some things cannot be given in blindly. In fact, Kiwiwi's way of handling it is not wrong, but it is not suitable for guests like today. It seems that she will have to give some advice to Ziziu later, asking him to increase the number of security personnel in Banhu Mall and increase the number of patrols. With her here today, she can subdue the male customer who is about to go crazy. But what if she is not here tomorrow? At that time, not only will Taoiao's employees be harmed, but those innocent customers in line will also suffer. So for safety reasons, security must be strengthened. After Wen Jiu calmed Kiwiwi's emotions, he left the employee lounge and walked into the dessert making area. Seeing Miss Tao and Tao Xiaotao busy all the time, she wanted to help the two of them quickly make the desserts so that they could get off work on time for her to question them. So she joined in without saying a word and made various desserts very skillfully. However, Taoiao's popularity has really increased several times. Back then, she could still make desserts and broadcast live at the same time, but now she can only concentrate highly, as if she is a high-speed running machine that only knows how to make desserts. It seems that the plan to open a branch must be put on the agenda. Wen Jiu worked with Taozi until 9 o'clock and only then finished making the desserts for the last batch of customers and then announced that the business for today would end here. She first asked Kiwiwi and other new employees questions, and after sending them away, she took Miss Tao and Tao Xiaotao to the second floor. Tao Xiaotao was as enthusiastic as ever, and she could keep smiling, even if she was tired all day. She praised her for being taller and prettier after traveling for a while. Miss Tao, on the other hand, seemed to be a little more worried and was not as confident and generous as before. Seeing this, she couldn't help but ask in confusion, "What's wrong? Is Taoiao's business not doing well recently?" "Not really," Miss Tao said as she stood up and bowed to her very respectfully. "I'm sorry, Miss Wen, I didn't handle today's emergency well." She waved her hand when she heard this. "It's not your fault. After all, you and other employees are busy all the time, and there are so many customers waiting to come into the store to shop. It's understandable that you can't spare time to deal with emergencies." She only participated in the work for a few hours, and she was so busy that it seemed as if her hands and feet were not her own. So she didn't want to blame Miss Tao, but just thought that Taoiao's branch should be opened as soon as possible. So she first asked about Teo Iao's recent situation, and then told Miss Tao and Tao Xiao that 3 branches would be opened next month. The two were very happy after hearing this. Although they were just bionic robots, their systems were highly imitating humans. Simply put, they would also feel tired. Humans can at least have fun by eating, drinking and having fun, but they can only use programs to self-regulate. So the fact of opening a branch store was a surprise to them. After being busy for so many days, they could finally reduce their workload. Since you all think it's okay, I'm relieved. Seeing that Miss Tao and Tao Xiao were tired, Wen Jiu didn't pester them to talk more. After giving them the spirit stone bracelets and high-level energy stones, she left Teo Iao and went to the lounge on the second floor of Donghu Shopping Mall. One was to confirm the handling of the previous male customer, and the other was to discuss the opening of a branch store with Zizio, who came over. Today's second update was also delivered smoothly. Thank you for the support of every little angel. 030. Chapter 1109. Why are you always busy? Because Chu Jian was worried that Zizio's people would not be able to deal with the male customer, he had been staying in the lounge as Teo Iao's deputy store manager to supervise. After shouting for a long time, the male customer finally followed the manager's instructions and wrote an apology letter to Teo Iao and the bullied employee and paid a sum of star coins as compensation. It's not that he really realized his mistake, but if he didn't do this, he would be transferred to the relevant department for interrogation by the manager on the charge of provoking trouble. Moreover, he lied that he knew Wen Jiu and did evil in his name. If he was really sent to the relevant department, he might be charged with more crimes. So between being forced to apologize and continuing to make trouble, he finally gritted his teeth and chose the former. What do you think? I said that my people will definitely solve it. Why do you act like you don't believe it? I'm Wen Jiu's original partner after all. Even if you don't believe me, you should believe her, right? Zizio was lying on the sofa very depressed at this moment. He was particularly speechless about Chu Jian, who was sitting next to him with a cold face. He had obviously helped Wen Jiu deal with so many things, and he had solved them in the most perfect way. I really don't understand why Chu Jian would still be like this. He pretended to be unfamiliar with him when he saw him. Can you stop pretending to be unfamiliar with me? We have met at least 800 times, and we lived together before. It's useless to pretend to be unfamiliar. So don't pretend, and tell me what you saw and played on that desolate planet. When he faced acquaintances, he would relax, take off his usual cold shell, and become a super chatterbox who was no less than Ziking Gaiu. After he finished speaking, he heard Chu Jian sneer, "Bossy, you have time to bombard me with words here, but don't you have time to strengthen the security of Donghu Shopping Mall? I don't know what those security personnel are doing." There was such a big commotion at the entrance of Teo Iao, but they didn't come to deal with it. If he and Wen Jiu hadn't come to check on Teo Iao today, I'm afraid that the troublemaker would have hurt the poor employees and even implicated those innocent customers. After all, the male customer was not only bullying Teo Iao's employees, but also constantly inciting the emotions of those customers in line. Who can guarantee that there won't be a more serious situation next? Yes, this wave is my fault again. Zizio pinched his eyebrows helplessly. I have asked my assistant to find the person in charge, and the security will definitely be strengthened as soon as possible. Although he wanted to debate with Chu Jian, he had to deal with various complicated affairs every day, so he didn't have time to care about the security of Donghu Mall. But this time it was Teo Iao who almost got into trouble, and it was in his Donghu Mall. So after thinking about it carefully, he gave up the idea of debate. Never mind, it's just a few words. Anyway, he has been scolded enough by Wen Jiu, and Chu Jian's words are not a big deal. He just thought of this and saw Wen Jiu push the door in. Okay, there is another person criticizing him. However, just when he was ready to accept criticism, Wen Jiu asked a few questions about the male customer and then changed the topic to opening a new store. It just so happens that I have a few idle stores under my management, and the locations are all excellent. They are in the prosperous areas of different districts and can be used as locations for Teo Iao branches. As Ziziu said this, he clicked on the light curtain panel to display several idle stores he had selected before. Of course, he mainly showed Wen Jiu the locations of those stores and the actual photos of these stores. Because Taoiao also has Ming Yehan as an investor, the opening of a branch requires the three of them to discuss together. So Wen Jiu quickly clicked on the light curtain panel and sent Ming Yehan a video call request. She had informed Ming Yehan during the day, so the other party quickly agreed to the video call and joined the discussion on opening a Taoiao branch. The three of them were like-minded partners and quickly finalized the location of the branch. As long as Wen Jiu finds time to conduct a field investigation, he can arrange for Ziziu's decoration team to go to work. However, considering that Taoiao will develop more branches in the future, the three of them chatted about opening a store and then turned to opening a company. I think it would be better for us to set up a company together so that the funds can be calculated more easily and the next stores can be opened under the brand of Taoiao. Ziziu was the first person to propose this idea. In fact, he had thought about it as early as when Wen Jiu opened the first Taoiao, but he was embarrassed to say it because he couldn't figure out the other party. After all, Taoiao is still Wen Jiu's in the final analysis. If the other party has any misunderstandings about him, not only will his cooperation with Taoiao be ruined, but even his own AOS pharmaceutical will be finished. It was only at this moment, when the atmosphere was set, that he boldly expressed this idea. Mr. Z's idea is very good, and I happen to have the same idea. When Ming Yehan first proposed to join the cooperation, he had thought about opening a company for Taoiao. Opening a company will not only facilitate capital accounting, but also better develop Taoiao's series of products. I remember that Miss Wen wanted to open Taoiao all over the galaxy. If you want to do this, it is best to register a company so as to ensure the operation of the brand and manage each branch. After all, you can't manage every store yourself, and you still have to go to military school to continue your studies in the future. Although Ming Yehan and Ziziu had some conflicts at the beginning, the two really fit in well in terms of business. Their concepts are almost the same, and it is difficult for them to have different ideas. At most, there are some minor differences, but they will not affect the overall situation. Hearing this, Wen Jiu couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Because she had never done big business before, she had no idea about opening a company. This is like sending a junior high school student to a business school to study. So although she knew that Ziqingyu and Ming Yehan would not cheat her, she still needed a little time to digest it. Fortunately, she is a person who learns things quickly, and she gave them an answer in a short while. That is, open. It must be opened. Okay, then I'll ask my assistant to organize the information later. Okay, I'll send the relevant information later. Although Ziziu and Ming Yehan used different words, they both wanted to express the same meaning. That is, today's chat ends here, and the next step is to follow the formal process. So Wen Jiu said goodbye to the two of them first, and then left with Chu Jian. I really didn't expect that they would go out at 9 in the morning and be busy until 12 o'clock in the evening. After getting on the floating bus, the extremely exhausted Wen Jiu fell asleep leaning on Chu Jian's shoulder. When she woke up, she found herself lying on the sofa in the living room, covered with a plush blanket. BIU today's third update has also been delivered smoothly. Thank you again for the support of the little angels. 030. Chapter 1110. Why are you always busy too? Because planet 3047 has entered the cold season. Even at 6 in the morning, it is still as dark as ink outside. Wen Jiu was no longer sleepy at this moment, so she simply turned over, washed up, and then went into the kitchen to make breakfast. She was busy in the kitchen for nearly an hour, and no one or any monster came down from upstairs. So she served herself a bowl of pumpkin porridge, picked up some refreshing side dishes, and brought a tray of glutinous rice dumplings, and then sat at the dining table to have breakfast first. The pumpkin porridge is sweet and soft, and it tastes as smooth as rice milk. The cherry radish that has been pickled for 3 days is crispy and delicious. When chewing, it will burst out fresh and salty juice. Just one piece can arouse people's appetite. The freshly wrapped and steamed glutinous rice dumplings are fresh and fragrant. The thin and flexible dumplings are crystal clear. Although they are soft, they are not too crispy. Instead, they have a unique chewy taste. The fillings made with carrot cubes, Gilou beast meat, mushroom cubes and other ingredients continue to send signals to the taste buds one after another. First, there was the salty fragrance of the Gilou beast meat, then the sweetness of the carrot cubes, followed by the freshness of the mushroom cubes, and the refreshing taste of peas and corn kernels. Whether it is the taste or the texture, there are hundreds of magical changes. It was not until when Jiu finished his breakfast that he saw Zeke and Guan Kaioshishi appear. She first did a simple check on the two of them, and after confirming that their bodies had recovered, she cleaned up the dirty dishes on the dining table. You can take whatever you want to eat. She put the dirty dishes into the pool. I'm going to the garden to walk around and digest the food. It was almost 8 o'clock now, and it was getting brighter outside. So she walked out of the living room and ran to the garden, thinking about strolling outside to relax. I have to say that Ukiki took good care of the garden. Various flowers, plants, and trees were scattered in an orderly manner. As soon as she walked into the stone path in the garden, she could feel the vitality and relaxed her mood instantly. Although it is now the cold season, Zishan district has a special protective cover that can maintain the temperature at 20 degrees. Therefore, Wen Jiu does not need to wrap herself in several layers of clothes like last year's cold season and can walk freely in the garden. After walking for a while, she lay down on the rocking chair. Since everyone has just got up, she doesn't have to deal with those trivial matters, so she naturally wants to relax more. So she lay there and browsed the hot searches on Zingbo. She opened the hot search list of Zingbo and saw a topic of interest. #The reservations for the Little Princess restaurant have been scheduled until the year after next. If she remembered correctly, this little princess was the third on her list. The other party had invited her to attend the opening ceremony before, but she refused on the grounds that she was too busy to go. Speaking of which, she didn't know how the Little Princess's restaurant was, so she could take this opportunity to search Zingbo to find out. Eating melons on the frontline reporter ZHU Erkong. Hello, brothers and sisters. I'm eating melons on the frontline reporter ZHU Erkong. I believe you all still remember that I said before that I received an invitation letter from the Little Princess restaurant. Come on, come on. Today I finally finished writing the manuscript. Brothers and sisters, don't miss it if you pass by. Wen Jiu slowly checked the star blog posted by ZHU Erkong, and then he knew that the Little Princess restaurant was called Deep Sea Star, which was a high-end restaurant that featured various seafood and special cocktails. On the opening day, many celebrities attended to show their support, including important figures from major military regions, and many superstars in the star entertainment circle, which can be said to have attracted the public's attention. Therefore, the hot search list in those days was full of topics about Deep Sea Star and the Little Princess. In fact, she should have known this news a long time ago, but she was pestered by the demons to be a judge during that time, which resulted in her not having much time to open the light curtain panel every day, and basically she was busy with work. This busyness made her miss these exciting news. Eating melons on the frontline reporter ZHU Erkong. By the way, all the big brothers and big sisters are in for a treat today because I successfully took a high definition frontal photo of young Master Lu. Hiroshima Marinasius has become a spirit. Oh my god, oh my god. Although I have seen it many times on the official media and have saved many photos of young Master Lu, every time I see it, I still want to sigh. It's amazing. Eye is full of stars. Why did Leader Lu keep young Master Lu hidden before? Shouldn't such a face be projected on the big screen of the federal headquarters so that we can wash our eyes and feel the beauty every day? Salty cat. Why is he so good looking? I really don't understand. All my brain cells combined, even if I meditate for 1 trillion years, I can't understand why he is so good looking. He is the only ray of light in the dark night, guiding me in the direction of progress and the motivation for me to live. Thank you Lu Yan, my destined husband. Running Gilou beast, don't go crazy here upstairs. He is not your destined husband. Leader Lu had been keeping Lu Yan very secret before. For so many years, no one even knew his name. but he suddenly brought him to Yunhei planet for his first appearance and even attended the opening ceremony of Deep Sea Star. You can think about the meaning of this. Kyan Kian, who is determined to save star coins. Don't make random guesses about the person in front. The little princess's father is the commander-in-chief of the 2nd military region, and her mother is the current star master of Yunhei planet. So there are so many celebrities at the opening ceremony of Deep Sea Star. And Leader Lu brought young Master Lu to attend. Isn't this a very normal thing? Wen Jiu just wanted to see the evaluation of Deep Sea Star, because she also had the idea of opening a high-end restaurant, but due to the current situation, it could not be carried out for the time being, so she thought she could take the opportunity to learn from good experiences, and improve bad places. This is the way to success, and it is also the humility that people should have. Who knew that the comments on this star blog became more and more distorted and successfully transferred from Deep Sea Star to Luoyan? So she quietly swiped away this star blog, wanting to find the evaluation of professionals. As a result, she had just clicked on another Interstellar blog when she received a message from Ming Yihan. Mr. Ming from Wuiao Food, I have made 2 products with the new tea leaves, and I will arrange for someone to send them to you later. If you think there is no problem after tasting them, then I will arrange for mass production and listing. So please be sure to taste them carefully, and it is best to give me a score in all aspects, so that I can analyze them. When Wen Jiu left the 13th military region, he specially packed a few boxes of processed tea leaves with him. When the Interstellar spacecraft sailed to other space stations for inspection, all the tea leaves were sent to Ming Yihan for new product development. Today's first update has been successfully delivered. Thank you little angels for your support. 030. Whispering, I can't write about female competition, so you can watch it with confidence. There is no misunderstanding or anything. The relationship is pure sweet. Underscore open bracket colon closed bracket underscore closed bracket. Chapter 11:11 Why are you always busy? Part 3. Calculating the time. Ming Yihan's new product should be developed. So Wen Jiu agreed very readily and asked the other party about the product. Ming Yihan made bottled green tea and bottled scented tea according to the formula she gave before. Because Wuiao Food has already produced several food products, but has not taken the first step in beverages, she thought of making bottled tea drinks. After all, most federal citizens love to drink tea, so there will definitely be a market for bottled tea drinks. Mr. Ming of Wuiao Food, the tea you sent is indeed better than the one I found before. You can taste the rich and mellow fragrance of the tea just by brewing it. So I'm very confident about these 2 teas, and they will definitely be very popular after they are launched. Jiu Yao Chen Wangun, it's okay, as long as you think it's okay. I have also tasted that tea, and it is indeed better than the one sold on the market. Otherwise I would not recommend it to you. Mr. Ming from Wuiao Food, haha, I have to thank you very much. If you hadn't been helping me find tea, I wouldn't have been able to find tea of such good quality. By the way, what is the identity of the lady who sells tea? Why haven't you told me a word until now? I thought you were not convenient to say it at that time, and you would tell me when you get home later. Seeing this, Wen Jiu couldn't help but pinch his eyebrows lightly. She knew it would be difficult to avoid this topic, unless Ming Yihan himself didn't want to mention it. Although the other party already trusted her very much, in business, some things can't be avoided after all. However, she certainly couldn't tell Ming Yihan about the 13th military region. So she still had to think of a way to get around this topic. Soon, she thought of the little princess's restaurant, Deep Sea Star. Since Ming Yihan's Ming family is a famous family in the imperial capital Star, the other party should have received an invitation letter and even attended the opening ceremony. So she quickly asked Ming Yihan about the various situations of Deep Sea Star. For example, the decoration environment, the taste of the dishes, the reservation system and a series of other questions. The other party seemed to see her evasion, so he followed her topic and chatted, and did not ask about the tea supplier. Ming Zhang of Wuiao Food, the decoration environment still meets the standards of a 10-star restaurant, but I think the dishes are slightly worse. It may be because of the excessive pursuit of the beauty of the plating, resulting in deviations in the taste of many dishes. For example, The hot jade lake fish you made before. When I tried it, I thought it tasted very delicious, and it perfectly preserved the sweetness of the fish itself. But the jade lake fish made by Deep Sea Star was overshadowed by the red flame pepper, which was supposed to be a side dish. After taking a bite, I couldn't taste the freshness of the fish itself, only the spicy taste of the red flame pepper burning and dancing on the taste buds. Picture, because Ming Yehan also attached pictures of the dishes, Wen Jiu quickly found the problem. In fact, the other party's analysis was almost right. This hot yuhu fish was indeed made for the sake of the beauty of the dish. Double the amount of red pepper was put in it, which caused the sweet taste of the fish to be covered by the spicy taste. So she continued to chat with Ming Yehan on this topic, to prevent him from mentioning that matter again. Who knew that Ming Yehan actually thought she was trying to get information, and sent several messages praising her for her better ability. Seeing this, she smiled helplessly, and shook her head. Jiu Yeo Chen Wan Kian, thank you for your affirmation and praise for me, but I don't have the idea of competing with the little princess, because my opponent will always be myself. And the reason why the little princess's restaurant is so popular is not entirely due to the recipes I provided her. She also put a lot of effort into it. Wen Jiu never thought of competing with the little princess. On the contrary, she admired such a fearless opponent. Because Ming Yehan had to go to a meeting, she closed the chat box after chatting with the other party. She hadn't contacted Lu Yan for a long time, and she didn't know what was going on with him. So she checked her friend list, and when she saw that Lu Yan was not online, she turned off the light screen panel. There was no way, since the other party was not online, she couldn't ask questions. It happened that at this time, Zikingayu, who had eaten and drunk enough, came over and asked her when she planned to leave for the stray animal shelter. I'll leave when you're all packed, she said as she got up from the rocking chair. By the way, I have a courier that I need your help to send. Although her relationship with Muleo was not particularly close, she always remembered the other party's kindness in selling the house at a low price. Therefore, Muleo asked for calligraphy and painting, and she immediately agreed after seeing the message. It's just that she was very busy when she was on the desolate planet before, so she couldn't spare time to write new calligraphy and painting for Muleo. In addition, there was no pen, ink, paper, and inkstone in the supplies of the Interstellar spacecraft, which resulted in her only finding time to write a calligraphy and painting after returning home. Okay, leave the things at the door for me, and I'll mail them together later. Zikingayu agreed cheerfully. It just so happens that I'm going to help Shishi mail something to her cousin. Hearing this, Wen Jiu nodded to show that he understood, and then walked towards the living room. Shishi was sitting with the monsters, and they seemed to be whispering something. When the other party saw her come in, they quickly got up and walked over. She then realized that it was the monsters who couldn't wait to integrate into human society, so they found Shishi, who seemed to be the easiest to get along with, to learn. One is to learn the federal language commonly used among humans, the second is to learn the various etiquette when humans get along, and the third is to learn everything. Since everyone has packed up, let's get ready to go. Wen Jiu took a thin coat for himself. Although there is a protective cover for cold and temperature regulation in Zishan district, there is no such thing in the slums, where the shelter center is located. She took care of the first thing yesterday, so today it's time to teach these monsters to learn knowledge. After all, Teo will open a branch next month, and she must train these monsters well. So she planned to let Shishi and Zikingayu train the two monsters responsible for reception and delivery, namely the Snow Fox clan and the Bluebird clan. Then let the gold medal waiter Hubaba give employment training to those dog monsters. And she herself and Hukiki will teach those rabbit spirits who are good at cooking. As for Chujayan and Stephanie, although both of them are waiters, their service level is hard to describe. So she thought of sending them both away to educate those lily people who don't know the sinister human heart. Source. Today's second update is also delivered. Thank you all for your support and love again. 030. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 11-12 Teo Iao Branch 1. A month passed quickly in the busy schedule. Kyoshi and Zikingayu successfully welcomed the winter vacation. Chujian and Stephanie's relationship eased during their time together, and Wen Jiu also welcomed the opening of Teo Iao's branch. Wen Jiu chose the 3 stores provided by Zizou. Because these stores were in different areas, she also needed to allocate the employed demons. During this time, she taught the demons a lot of knowledge and skills, and arranged them to take turns to work in Teo Iao's main store, which was the first Teo Iao opened in Danghu shopping mall. Therefore, most of the demons have successfully adapted to the lives of ordinary humans, and there will be no big problems, even if they are arranged by her to work independently in the branch. Only a small number of demons need to learn more. So she first selected the demons who can work independently, and then classified and arranged them according to their personality differences. After all, demons are like humans, with introverts and extroverts. If a store is full of introverted employees, who will be responsible for warmly entertaining guests? So in terms of staffing, she must make a good match. Come and take a look. This is the list I have prepared. If there are no problems, they will start working according to this list the day after tomorrow. After the words fell, Kyoshi and Zikingayu, who were playing around, came over immediately. Chujian, who was playing games on the light screen panel, also immediately quit the game and walked over to her. Even Stephanie, who always cared about nothing, put down her cosmetics and sat over at this time. The main reason is that everyone has been getting along with the monsters these days, so there is still some affection in their hearts, and they will think about asking for a good place for the monsters they teach. Jiu, I think we can swap Uzaiomi and Uzaioruan. Kyoshi stuck out her tongue playfully. It would be better to let Uzaioruan go to the branch in Danghu district. Hearing this, Wen Jiu couldn't help but think about it carefully. The reason why she put Uzaiomi in the Danghu district branch was mainly because she felt that there would be many customers coming to this branch, and she needed a monster who was very tactful to receive them. After all, Teo Iao's main store is in Danghu district, and the first choice of customers is either the main store or the branch store here. But now that Kyoshi has taken the initiative to speak, she naturally wants to ask the reason. It's like this. Uzaiomi is very good at reading people's eyes, and has high emotional intelligence, but her problem is that she is too good at reading people's eyes. When the other party said this, he also threw a look that said you know. Seeing this, Wen Jiu nodded, after thinking for a moment, and then exchanged Uzaiomi's name with Uzaioruan. Although Uzaiomi knows how to treat people better than Uzaioruan, the former sometimes behaves too flatteringly, which easily causes discomfort to others. Therefore, Uzaiomi is not suitable to stay in Danghu district, and it would be more appropriate for the other party to go to Zishan district. Zishan district is the area where her villa is located. The residents living here are either rich or noble. Even if Uzaiomi is flattering, those residents are used to it and will not mind it too much. It seems that it was a correct choice for her to let everyone refer to the list together. After all, she had been in contact with the Jade Rabbit tribe the most during this period, and she was not particularly familiar with the personalities and temperaments of other monster tribes. Later, she made some adjustments to the list in her hand, based on the opinions of her friends. After confirming the final version, she took everyone on a special car to the shelter center to meet with the monster tribe. The 3 branches will open the day after tomorrow, so naturally they have to make intensive preparations. The monster tribes who had lived in Wen Jiu's house before arrived at the shelter center in a special car early in the morning and started the review session with other monster tribes. By the way, all the special cars were provided by Zizou. On the one hand, it was to allow the monster tribes to go to and from get off work smoothly, and on the other hand, it was to prevent Wen Jiu and others from squeezing on the bus. My brother doesn't even know to ask someone to prepare some food in the car. Zikingayu leaned lazily against the cushion and kept complaining about Zizou. He only knows to keep the good things for himself. Hearing this, Kyoshi raised her hand and tapped his head lightly. That's enough for you. Brother Z is still very good to us. He helped us find a house and arranged a special car. You can't do this. He pouted when he heard this. Why can't I do this? When I become a real mecha master, I will make a mecha for each of you. It's much more sincere than these houses and cars. Alas, why does the college competition have to wait so long? I want to grow up quickly and enter the military academy. In this way, I can study mechas well and don't have to learn everything like I do now. Because he is still a reserve military student, he must study all the knowledge about combat seriously. But he had no interest in subjects such as pharmacy, mental training, and combat. He only wanted to study the powerful mechas made with high technology. Hearing this, Kyoshi couldn't help but complain. Even if you enter the military academy in the future, you can't just learn about mechas. You still have to train, but you don't have to learn some subjects. Because she was also working hard with the goal of entering the military academy, she had been looking for Kyoji to learn about military academy life. The two were chatting back and forth when they suddenly heard Wen Jiu, who was sitting in front, ask, "When will the college competition start?" The official said it is expected to be held the year after next. Zikingayu immediately answered loudly, "But my parents said that it is unlikely to be held the year after next, and it may be postponed to the year after next, which is 3 years later." It is said that, because the federal headquarters still has to deal with the holes in the 3rd military region and the 5th military region, there will definitely be considerable turmoil in each military region in the next few years, and it will be difficult to successfully hold a large event like the college competition in the short term. As you all know, 4 of the 5 major military academies are linked to military regions. We all participate in the college competition in order to get into the 5 major military academies, and we don't want to work hard to get a place, only to apply for other military academies. So, alas, I can only say that postponing this matter has both advantages and disadvantages. Upon hearing this, Wen Jiu agreed. Anyway, her place in the military academy has been confirmed long ago. She only needs to wait for Kyoshi and Zikingayu to win the college competition and pass the entrance examination of Ruwa Military Academy, and then she can be promoted to the military academy and become a military academy student. So she didn't ask any more questions, just adjusted her sitting posture and closed her eyes to rest. When she opened her eyes, she arrived at the shelter Biu. Today's 3rd update has also been successfully delivered. Please check it out, little angels. Chapter 11-13 Teoiao Branch 2. Although each demon has a different personality and temperament, they are all looking forward to starting work. Wen Jiu arranged for them to work in the main store in turn, so that they could come into contact with those strange humans. Therefore, they are no longer afraid of humans like when they first arrived at planet 3047. Not only that, most demons also like living in the human world. Whether it is dealing with various strange humans, quietly doing their own jobs, or experiencing various high-tech in their spare time, all of these things make them excited. I don't know if I can be selected by Miss Wen. King was sitting anxiously in the lobby on the 1st floor waiting. I hope the rabbit god will bless me to be selected. I really want to become a formal employee. The main reason is that Wen Jiu only opened 3 branches this time, while there are more than 150 demons, so it is impossible for every demon to become the first batch of formal employees. And she made some mistakes when she was sent to practice before, so she is now particularly worried that she will be screened out. Don't worry, you will definitely be selected. Beng comforted her softly, because you are the best cook among our group of rabbit spirits, so Miss Wen will definitely not waste your talent. Hearing this, her anxiety eased a little, because Beng was right. She was the rabbit spirit with the best cooking skills among the rabbit spirits who came to the human world this time. Otherwise, she would not have competed with Ukiki before. Although she lost slightly to the opponent in the first game, she still won several games later. So she should be more confident now, and should not be overly anxious about a small mistake. Thinking of this, she breathed a sigh of relief. In fact, in addition to King, there are many monsters who are also very anxious. Some of them, like King, made mistakes during the internship. Some are not capable enough, and are worried that they will be screened out because of this. In short, everyone is worried, and silently waiting for Wen Jiu. However, there is an exception, a snow white dog monster. Unlike those restless monsters, there is not even a trace of panic on his face. He even lay in front of the French window to bask in the sun, looking completely relaxed and lazy. Seeing this, Quan Du couldn't help but walk over curiously. RC, why aren't you nervous at all? Why should I be nervous? He saw that the demon who came was the team leader Quan Du, so he lazily replied to the other party, anyway, I won't be sent away if I'm not selected, and it's only a matter of time before I officially take up the post. At worst, I'll wait for the next time, and it will be my turn sooner or later. Quan Du was a little stunned when he heard this, but the first batch of demons who officially take up the post must be the best performers during the training period. Who doesn't want to be ranked? What's the word? Is it to be ranked in the toilet? It's to be ranked at the top. Quan Si changed his posture speechlessly and continued to lie down. No matter whether it's the best performance or not, they will eventually be sent to work. So what's the point of competing for the first batch? Quan Du is the team leader and leading demon among this group of dog demons, so he always believes that he must do his best and not disappoint the tribe leader's thousands of expectations for him before leaving. So while he was working hard himself, he also taught other dog demons to work hard. Now when he heard the discouraging words of Quan Si, he couldn't help but frowned in disapproval. He remembered that, although the other party was not very talented in all aspects before, he could still rank among the dog demons in terms of hard work. How come he became so discouraging since the day he set out? However, just when he wanted to ask Quan Si why his mentality suddenly changed, he found that the other demons stopped whispering. The next second, he saw Wen Jiu and others walking in from the gate, so he could only swallow the words in his mouth and think about talking to Quan Si later. Good morning, everyone. Did you have a good breakfast? Wen Jiu greeted them with a smile first, so that these demons could calm down and avoid being too anxious. Then she took out the prepared list and announced the first batch of demons who officially took up their posts. The demons whose names were called were naturally overjoyed, while the demons who were not called were all dejected, and there were even a few demons who were not good at managing their emotions and cried on the spot after the list was read out. Seeing this, she had to arrange Kyoshi and Zikingayu to come forward and comfort those demons with soft words. It's not that she dislikes those demons who are in grief, but she feels that managing demons cannot be blindly tolerant. If she only cares about comforting them at this time and ignores those demons who were selected, wouldn't it make those demons feel that being selected is worse than not being selected? So from the overall perspective, it would be better to reward the selected demons first and then encourage the demons who were not selected. Besides, she didn't completely ignore the demons who were not selected. You must know that Kyoshi and Zikingayu are much better than her in comforting others. All the demons whose names were called just now, please follow me to the third floor meeting room. I will first break down your positions and then talk about your work. After saying that, Wen Jiu walked towards the stairs. Seeing this, Quan Du quickly dragged the selected demon dogs to the stairs and told them to go upstairs and sit down first. Although he himself was also selected by Wen Jiu, he couldn't ignore the unselected demon dogs. Therefore, he still needed to do a good job of comforting them before he could feel at ease to attend the meeting on the third floor. RC, why are you still lying there? He walked over with a look of disappointment and pulled RC, who was still lying there, up. Since you have been selected by Miss Wen, you must cheer up. You must not lose face for our dog demon tribe. You must do this job to the best of your ability. What is it? Hearing this, RC glanced at him helplessly. Perfection. Yes, yes, yes. Perfection. He scratched his head shyly. I heard this word during the training 2 days ago. How come I have completely forgotten it today? Forget it. Let's not talk about this. You should go to the third floor for a meeting. As he spoke, he pushed RC and saw that the other party stepped onto the stairs with a face full of reluctance and walked to the third floor with other demons. He waited until RC's figure disappeared before turning back to comfort the dog demon who failed to be selected. But he didn't know why. He always felt that RC was weird. The other demons who were selected were all excited, but the other party's face was full of reluctance. In the past, if there was any job opportunity, Quan RC would be the first one to rush in. fearing that he would be left behind. How did it become like this now? It was a pity that Quan Dudu's mind could not think about too complicated things, so he did not take this matter to heart and quickly devoted himself to the work of comforting, and then hurried to the third floor to attend the meeting held by Wen Jiu. Today's first update has been successfully delivered. Please check it out. Little Angels 030 Chapter 1114 Teo Iao Branch 3. Considering that the 3 branches are larger than the main store and are located in a prosperous area, Wen Jiu selected a total of 56 demons this time. 51 of them were to be assigned to the branches, and the remaining 5 were placed in the Teo Iao main store. Let me first talk about the staffing arrangements for each branch. She enlarged the light screen panel so that the demons could browse the list. First of all, let's talk about the Danghu district branch. Quan Dudu, Quan Mimi, and Quan Dading in short. Each branch has 6 dog demons as waiters, 4 rabbit spirits responsible for drinks and desserts, and 2 snow fox spirits to do reception and publicity work at the door. In addition to these standard lineups, she arranged 2 raccoon spirits as security guards for each store, including the Teo Iao main store. Although she believed that Zizio would strengthen the security of the Danghu Mall, she did not think that the same would be true for other branches. So in order to prevent accidents, she still had to take security into consideration. Besides, she didn't have anything to build right now, so she had to find something for the links to do. These links were all extremely strong, and when they turned into human form, they were all tall and strong men, just enough to be security guards. As for the bluebirds, she assigned 3 to each of Teo Iao's stores. Teo Iao's dine-in service was already perfect, so she wanted to develop Tikiert. It just so happened that the bluebirds were best at delivering things, and she had previously tested the delivery speed of these bluebirds, so she decisively assigned bluebirds to each store. You know, you can earn a lot of star coins by doing Tikiert, and she won't miss this opportunity to earn star coins. That's about it for the staff allocation. Next, I'll talk about the job allocation. Each store must have a store manager and a deputy store manager. I'll first select the acting store manager and deputy store manager for each store, based on your previous training and the teacher's evaluation of you in various aspects. As for why it's acting, it's because I haven't seen your real work ability yet, so the selected store manager and deputy store manager will only serve for a period of time. After 3 months, I will make adjustments based on the actual situation. After the words fell, the demons present couldn't help but get excited. They were already very happy to be selected, and they didn't expect that they would have the opportunity to become a small leader. That was naturally double the joy, and they were almost ecstatic. Seeing this, Wen Jiu quickly coughed twice, signaling everyone not to be too excited. Fortunately, the demons selected this time were very obedient, so she quickly completed the job allocation. After finishing all this, she asked Kaioshishi and Stephanie to distribute store clerk uniforms to these demons. In fact, Teo Iao didn't have employee uniforms before. It was only when she decided to open a branch last month that she added this item at the suggestion of Kaioshishi and Stephanie. Because Kaioshishi and Stephanie are both keen on matching outfits, she handed the employee uniforms to them. After all, there is a saying that every profession has its own specialty. Sister Jiu, are we going to take a walk around the branch later? Zikingayu took advantage of this time when she had nothing to do, so she came to Wen Jiu and asked in a low voice. Hearing this, Wen Jiu shook his head and said, "Let's go to the hospital to visit Teacher Yu first." Dr. Zhu said that she only needs to take another medicinal bath, and all the skin on her body will be restored to its original state. As for going to the branch, let's talk about it after we come out of the hospital. It's not that she doesn't care about the situation of the branch, but with Zizio watching over this aspect, it's unlikely that there will be any major problems. Okay, Zikingayu nodded in agreement. Then let's go see Teacher Yu first. I just happened to have a question about fighting that I wanted to ask her. Although he and Kaioshishi were both on winter vacation, they still insisted on training, especially in weapon fighting and the use of superpowers. They all had some problems to varying degrees. The main reason was that they had trained at the seedling base for a period of time before, which led to the two of them always being a little extreme in fighting and superpower combat. After all, in a place like the seedling base where competition is cruel, they must try their best to survive. For this reason, Lee Kinson thought of many ways to help the two correct this problem. It's not that there's anything wrong with fighting with all your strength, but their efforts are different from those of ordinary students. Although ordinary students will try their best to fight, they all know that their lives are the most important, and they won't fight to the point of not caring about their lives. But the two of them fought very extreme, and they would get injured every time they fought. If there wasn't a certain gap between the students in the academy and them, I'm afraid that the two of them would not only get injured when they fought. You can just come to me for fighting problems. Chu Jian, who had nothing to do, also came over. I'll teach you how to kill the enemy within 3 moves. Hearing this, Zikingai couldn't help but shudder. No, I don't want to be an armed mecha soldier. I just want to be a mecha master who repairs the mecha in the back. It is precisely because of this that he wants to change his extreme fighting style. He is not like Kao Shishi who wants to be an armed mecha soldier, and the other party will not look strange, even if he gets too excited in a fight. You know, most mecha masters are only a little better than medical soldiers in terms of combat. Therefore, if he drives a mecha around to fight, it would be too unsociable. TSK, boring. Chu Jian pretended to be disgusted and said twice, can't you repair the mecha while fighting? It would be so fun. Zikingai was even more speechless when he heard this. I refuse. Your request is too unreasonable. Although the mecha master that Chu Jian said does exist, he really has no interest in fighting now. In the past, he would still think about being the first in the battle and becoming the kind of mecha master who can fight and repair in the eyes of the other party. But later, he was beaten up by Wen Jiu and his dream was shattered. From then on, he just wanted to be a quiet mecha master. Of course, he couldn't say this reason. People can lose face once, but they can't lose face all the time. You two can continue chatting first. I'll go see how Shishi and the others are doing. Wen Jiu really didn't want to listen to the gossip of the two people, so he got up and walked to the inner door of the conference room. Just when she wanted to knock on the door and enter, the door suddenly opened. I saw a young man with an ordinary face holding the door handle in a daze. The other party didn't seem to expect that he would meet her so coincidentally. Seeing this, she took the initiative to move aside. After her action, the young man put down his hand and walked out with his head down. And she stepped forward without looking sideways, as if she didn't see the other party's unnaturalness. Source today's second update has also been successfully delivered. Thank you for the support and love of every little angel. 030. Chapter 11:15 Solving Fox Zio C1. As dusk fell, all the demons gathered in the lobby on the first floor, waiting for the rabbit spirit who was in charge of cooking today, to distribute the prepared dinner. Because except for the Jade Rabbit and a few Snow Fox tribes, no demons were good at cooking, so they could only gather together to unite and help each other. For example, the Jade Rabbit was responsible for making 3 meals a day, and other demons would help with other things. Xingxing, don't be too sad. Quan Dudu saw Quan Xingxing's frustrated face, so he took the initiative to comfort him in a gentle voice. Miss Wen will open a branch in the future, so you will be selected sooner or later. Besides, not being selected does not mean that you are not good enough. Miss Wen said that this time not only the ability was taken into consideration, but also some adjustments were made according to our personalities. I think your ability is still very outstanding, so it's mostly about personality. I'm not saying that you have a bad personality, I mean. As he spoke, he got himself into trouble and was extremely embarrassed for a while. Seeing this, Quan Xingxing couldn't help but feel even more sad. Captain, don't say anything. I know it's my fault. No way. You're obviously very good. He hurriedly continued to comfort her. When you were interning before, you worked better than me. You could entertain 8 tables of guests in 10 minutes. You know, I and other dog demons can't do that. Quan Xingxing drooped his tail when he heard this. Then what's the use of my excellent ability? I was still screened out by Miss Wen. Even some lazy and blame-shifting monsters can be selected. Why can't someone like me be selected? After the words fell, Kwan Du had no time to answer and heard Kwan RC, who was lying in front of the French window, said coldly, "Because you can only complain here, of course you can't be selected. You." Kwan RC, "What do you mean?" Kwan Xing stood up angrily, and even his tail was clamped at this time. "During your internship, you were lazy and slack at every turn, and deliberately threw the work to other dog demons. I really can't understand how a dog demon, like you, could be selected." Hearing this, Kwan RC just swung his tail disapprovingly. "If you can't figure it out, go ask Wen Jiu. What's the point of getting angry at me here? Do you expect me to give you the quota? I think you're dreaming, before you even go to bed." After he finished speaking, he swung his tail and walked upstairs, looking cold and unwilling to pay attention to Kwan Xing. This made Kwan Xing angry, and he almost jumped on him and bit him. If Kwan Du hadn't pulled Kwan Xing in time, I'm afraid he would have had a hard time returning to his room upstairs. Because he was Huzaoc disguised as Kwan RC, he could say something against other dog demons when he was unhappy, but he couldn't really fight with those dog demons, otherwise his true identity would be exposed. After all, the fighting style of dog demons and snow fox spirits is completely different, and it would be difficult for him to imitate them 100% in a short time. So he could only run away after swearing, so as not to be entangled by the dog demon. I'm so annoyed. After he slammed the door shut, he flew onto the bed and curled up. He had been looking for an opportunity to leave during this period, but there were not only surveillance cameras outside the dormitory building, but also humans patrolling from time to time. Therefore, he could only endure and hide, and continue to disguise himself as a new RC. "Calm down, I can find an opportunity to escape in a few days." At this moment, he suddenly remembered that he was going to work in the branch store. When the store was busy, and there was no supervision by Wen Jiu, it would be easy for him to find an opportunity to leave. So he couldn't help but mutter to himself excitedly, and began to plan how to take revenge after he left. It was impossible for him to let go of his hatred. He had to kill those humans with his own hands to vent his anger and eliminate his inner demons. However, just as he was imagining a beautiful future, he suddenly heard footsteps outside the door. The next second, Wen Jiu smiled and pushed the door open. "Miss Wen, Huzaoc quickly sat up from the bed. "What can I do for you?" He really didn't expect Wen Jiu to appear suddenly, because the other party left at noon. Generally, Wen Jiu and others would not appear until the second or third day after leaving the shelter. That's why he could brazenly confront Inu Xing without worrying about being discovered by Wen Jiu. Who knew? Now he could only pray silently in his heart that the other party didn't know what happened downstairs just now. After all, it is well known that the biggest characteristic of the dog demon clan is unity and friendship. Dog demons will not do such things as confronting their own kind under normal circumstances. Even Inu Xing, who was in a state of emotional breakdown, only said a few sarcastic words, and the other party didn't dare to confront him in person. It was only when he named Inu Xing that the other party started to quarrel with him. Just as his thoughts were drifting away, he saw Wen Jiu closing the door and walking towards him with a smile. "There is something." The other party finally stopped by his bed. "I want to ask you if you want to watch the live broadcast of the court trial." He couldn't help but feel a little confused when he heard this. Although he knew what a court was and understood what a trial and live broadcast were, he really didn't understand what the other party meant. However, before he could answer out loud, Wen Jiu opened the light curtain panel and placed it in front of him. The judge, with a serious expression, was sitting on the highest seat, announcing the verdict of the case loudly. "This court believes that the defendant Wen Jiu should be punished for privately capturing wild animals, selling them to circuses at high prices, and selling wild animal organs. In view of the fact that the defendant Wen Jiu is a first-time offender and can truthfully confess the facts of the crime and has a good attitude of confessing and repenting, he can be given a lighter sentence in accordance with the law. In accordance with Article 139 of the Federal Animal Protection Act, the verdict is as follows. The defendant Wen Jiu is sentenced to 6 years in prison and a fine of 1 million star coins." Seeing this, the smart Huzaoc quickly understood. Wen Jiu really listened to what he said before. He also helped him use the legal means of human society to solve this human who deserved to die. It's a pity that he couldn't cut this man into pieces, nor let him experience the pain of those monsters. Don't always think about risking your life in a society ruled by law. It's best to solve it with legal means. Wen Jiu said with a trace of sadness in his eyes, I know the hatred in your heart, whose IOC. Although she knew that sometimes the law could not restrain those who committed heinous crimes, and special means must be used to deal with them. Just like those who had hurt Rumen, it would be difficult for her to relieve the hatred in her heart if she didn't do it herself. But she still didn't want whose IOC to retaliate and kill those humans or torture them to death. The main reason was that whose IOC had already developed a demon in his heart because of hatred. If he really used an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, I'm afraid the other party would completely lose his mind and go crazy. It's really not worth it to sacrifice yourself to retaliate against those ugly people. Today's third update has been successfully delivered. Thanks again to the little angels for their support. 030. Whisper. The judgment section was referenced from Baidu information. If it is inaccurate, the little angels can correct it. After all, the little author is not a professional and accepts polite corrections. Chapter 11:16 Solving Fox's IOC2. After a long time, whose IOC suppressed the bitterness in his heart and looked up at Wen Jiu. Thank you. Although he wanted to get rid of those people by himself and let them taste the taste of being cut into pieces, but he had to admit that this method was the most appropriate in his current situation. As the saying goes, one thought can make you a Buddha, and one thought can make you a devil. Although he did not have the lofty ambition to become a Buddha or an immortal, he did not want to really fall into the devil's way. But every time he thought of the bloody scenes he saw, he wanted to cut those hateful humans into pieces. Therefore, since he was brought back to the desolate star, he has not slept well. He wanted to avenge his kind, but was afraid of falling. He has been deeply troubled for several years. But now, Wen Jiu has made an exceptional choice for him. Miss Wen, why are you helping me like this? He thought of this and couldn't help but ask curiously, you can't get any benefit from me, and I'm not as familiar with you as you are with Ukiki. Hearing this, Wen Jiu shrugged disapprovingly. Just think of it as a piece of cake for me. Do more good deeds and accumulate more virtues to earn more star coins. In fact, she was not just helping whose IOC. She did this mainly to help herself. Because she always felt that the people of the demon clan such as whose IOC who were taken away must have something to do with the 3rd military region and the 5th military region. So after she learned the news from whose IOC, she contacted Zhu Wangming in time to ask him to investigate. Compared with the difficult to detect rig group, the circus where whose IOC was located was much easier to investigate. So Zhu Wangming quickly collected all the evidence and brought Yuan Jinshan, the head of the circus, to court on the charge of smuggling and trafficking in wild animals. Of course, these things were arranged by Zhu Wangming. After all, he still needs to hide his identity, and some things can only be done in the dark. As for acting in the open, the Burning Flame organization will always find the right person, which is also one of the benefits of having an organization. Okay, whose IOC swung his tail a little embarrassedly. How did you recognize me? In terms of intelligence, he was second only to Hu Yi in the Snow Fox clan. So he could understand Wen Jiu's meaning and decisively chose to change the subject. Hearing this, Wen Jiu couldn't help but smile slightly. I can only say that your acting skills need to be improved. She recognized whose IOC disguised as a dog demon as early as when she arrived at the dog demon clan and met with Ukiki, but she never exposed him. It seems that I'm showing off my skills in front of an expert. Miss Wen is really as powerful as the clan leader said, whose IOC decisively changed back to the appearance of a snow fox spirit. Since you have seen through my disguise, I don't have to act anymore. You tell me when to send me back. I will definitely not run away. After hearing what the other party said, she stretched out her index finger and shook it left and right. No, you have to continue to act. Besides, since you are here, you can stay for a while longer. She was kind, but not much. Whose IOC asked her to work without a dog demon, so the other party had to take over. Anyway, the snow fox spirit and the dog demon are both good at service work, so it is not a waste of talent for her to arrange whose IOC to be a waiter in the store. Besides, it is not reasonable to use her interstellar spaceship to travel to the human world for nothing. Whose IOC must earn enough money for 2 tickets before she can leave her job and return to the desolate planet. Anyway, you should work hard first. I won't send you away in a short time. She tapped the other's head twice with her hand. Remember to get up on time and put on your uniform on the opening day. I will go to your store for inspection then. After that, she turned and walked out of the room. Seeing this, whose IOC couldn't help but sigh. His mood at the moment was very complicated, with both gratitude and pity, and a hint of regret. But no matter what, he knew that he couldn't make any more mistakes. So he first turned into the appearance of a dog RC, then ran downstairs to find other dog demons, and continued to disguise himself as Wen Jiu said. At the same time, after Wen Jiu walked out of the dormitory building, he went straight to the door of the shelter center, and then got on a cool red and black hovercraft. Have you finished your work? Zhu Wangming saw Wen Jiu finally come back, so he turned on the autopilot mode. I thought I would wait here until dark. Hearing this, Wen Jiu just replied calmly, not really. Didn't you say you were going to the administration bureau to handle the formalities? Then I naturally have to make a quick decision. Otherwise, it will be too late and the administration bureau will be closed, and we can only go home and go tomorrow. After she left the shelter at noon, she went to the hospital to visit Yu Rumen. The other party's recovery was better than expected. The skin all over the body has returned to its original state, and her face is more beautiful than before. After seeing Yu Rumen's intact appearance, she couldn't help but sigh in her heart that the previous explosion was worth it. Now there is more than a month before the spring festival. Zhu Wangming said that Yu Rumen will be discharged from the hospital and go home to recuperate in less than a month, and she will be able to celebrate the festival at home. This is earlier than the other party's expected discharge time, which is really good news, that she is very happy. So when Zhu Wangming said that he needed her to accompany him to handle the formalities, she agreed without even asking. But she had one request, that is, to let the other party send her to the shelter center and finish what needs to be done. Thank you so much, Zhu Wangming said, while confirming the flight route. When we get there, you can pretend to be my sister. Wen Jiu couldn't help but ask in confusion when he heard this. Aren't we going to handle the formalities? Why should I pretend to be your sister? Point actually, it's not to handle the formalities. Zhu Wangming's face flushed. I want you to accompany me to see the house. Hearing this, an idea suddenly popped up in Wen Jiu's mind. Isn't it the house I'm thinking of? Uncle Zhu, don't do stupid things. Teacher Yu is a non-marriageist. She knew that Zhu Wangming was a homeowner, but now the other party was going to buy a new house, and it was self-evident why. What do you know, little kid? I'm not buying that house. How can I buy a house now, when the matter hasn't even been decided yet? Besides, I know your mother Yu is a non-marriageist, so I haven't thought about getting married. I naturally respect her ideas. Zhu Wangming was like a cat whose tail was stepped on. With a red face and green stubble, he spoke a long string of words in a loud voice. Seeing this, Wen Jiu couldn't help but burst out laughing. Uncle Zhu, calm down. Don't get sick from worrying. It's no wonder that she would think that way. After all, Zhu Wangming has been responsible for taking care of Yu Rumen during the time she was injured, and she had long seen that Zhu Wangming had that intention, but Yu Rumen didn't really want to. But it's hard to say about feelings. What if the two of them had sparked a love affair during the time she was on the desolate planet? BIU today's first update has been delivered. Thank you little angels for your support. 030. Chapter 1117 Yunshin Kingcha 1. However, it turns out that Wen Jiu was really thinking wrong this time. Although Yu Rumen had a crush on Zhu Wangming, the other party did not want to develop a relationship for the time being, saying that he wanted to enjoy his single life more. Zhu Wangming was a person who respected Yu Rumen's ideas, so he was not in a hurry to confirm the relationship with the other party. He just started to think of ways to make his presence felt to prevent that little bit of goodwill from disappearing. I'm afraid that if we meet less often in the future, the relationship will fade. So I thought that madman would live in your house at that time, so I might as well buy a house nearby and be a neighbor so that I can also make my presence felt every day when I go to and from get off work. Alas, there is no way. There are too many people chasing your mother. I have to use some tricks to keep the progress I have made with great difficulty. He saw that Wen Jiu was thinking wrong, so he told the truth. So teacher, you said before that he wanted to talk to you, just to talk about emotional matters. The other party nodded with sudden enlightenment. Seeing this, he could only shrug helplessly. Yes, your mother is a very smart person. How could she not see my thoughts? She came to me and exposed this matter directly. At this point, he couldn't help but show a little joy in his eyes. Although Ruman did not agree to him, he still had great hope. So he continued to tell Wen Jiu about his next pursuit plan, hoping that the other party could give some advice. Point, is there a possibility that I'm still a child? Wen Jiu glanced at Zhu Wangming speechlessly. However, despite her complaints, she still helped the other party analyze it according to Ruman's preferences. After all, Zhu Wangming has helped her a lot during this period, and she is not too embarrassed to refuse his request. Of course, her willingness to help is based on the premise that Ruman also has a good impression of Zhu Wangming. If Ruman has no feelings for Zhu Wangming, she would rather give the latter star coins as a reward than help this favor. Then, she followed Zhu Wangming's instructions and pretended to be the other party's sister when looking at the house in order to lower the house price. This villa is not bad, but the garden is a little small. My sister likes a bigger garden. How about you give me 500,000 star coins less, and I will take this villa. Why is it only 2 floors? It can't hold my sister's toys and it's too far from Zishan College. You have to sell it for 800,000 star coins cheaper? I'm telling you the truth. After seeing it now, I think this one is okay. But the price is not right. Selling it for 7 million is too high. All the villas in this area are self-built. How can they be worth 7 million star coins? And my sister doesn't like the decoration of this villa. I have to redecorate it according to her requirements, which will cost a lot of star coins. Although Wen Jiu didn't say much during the whole process, she was glad at a lot after looking around the houses. And all this is thanks to Zhu Wangming. Fortunately, the hardship was not in vain. The other party finally took over the self-built villa at a price of 5.5 million star coins. The main reason is that the real estate in Zishan district is mainly villas, so Zhu Wangming can only buy a villa if he wants to be her neighbor. Thank you, sister. The other party sent her to the door of her home. I have to ask you to keep the secret from me for the time being. I want to meet you by chance after your mother is discharged from the hospital, so that she won't be too burdened by this matter in advance. Hearing this, she immediately retracted her legs when she was about to get off the flying car. It's okay to keep the secret, but I'll pay the fee first. After Zhu Wangming reluctantly transferred 30,000 star coins, she smiled and got off the flying car and walked to her door. It just so happened that Ukiki had prepared dinner at this time, and she could eat a steaming hot meal as soon as she got home. With family, friends, and star coins, this is her favorite fairy-like day. In the next few days, whether it is Wen Jiu's friends or the monsters in the shelter center, they are all preparing for the opening of the Taoiao branch. And Wen Jiu not only has to prepare for the opening, but also has to be busy with the affairs of the Desolate Star. In fact, the star rights certificate of the Desolate Star was issued some time ago, and she immediately submitted an application to the federal headquarters to develop routes and star tracks. Since the desolate planet was registered not long ago, it is still a bit difficult to apply successfully at the first time. Fortunately, Ming Yahan went to smooth out some connections after learning about this, so that her application passed the preliminary review smoothly. However, there are still re-examination and final review later. Even if you find connections, you still have to wait patiently for a while. So after waiting and waiting, it has been waiting until now. After the federal headquarters approved the application, she quickly asked Ming Yahan to arrange people to develop interstellar routes to the desolate planet and star tracks for landing on the planet. In fact, it is possible to find the desolate planet without developing routes, but it is more convenient for cargo ships to transport with routes. After all, not every interstellar spacecraft pilot can do it manually without relying on the system. And with a fixed route, some unnecessary troubles can be avoided, so it is still necessary to develop it. The same is true for establishing star tracks. Star tracks can restrict the entry and exit of irrelevant interstellar spacecraft to avoid being discovered by others. It is precisely because of this that, although Wen Jiu is very distressed about her star coins, she still transferred a sum of money to Ming Yahan and asked him to do the things of developing routes and establishing star tracks. With this transfer of accounts, she went from being a wealthy woman to a pauper. But now is not the time for her to cry for star coins. There are a lot of things on the desolate star that need to be solved, and the work of the Teoiao branch also needs to be handled. Tomorrow is the day when the 3 Teoiao branches will open. After breakfast, Wen Jiu took a group of friends and went straight to the head office to confirm whether the publicity was in place, and then rushed to each branch for a final inspection. Sister Jiu, I brought back the goods sent by Mr. Ming. Wen Jiu was inspecting the Zishan district branch of Teoiao at the moment and saw Ziqing who walked in holding a large brown cardboard box. But before she could even open her mouth, Kaioshishi asked curiously, Zio Banli, why don't you use the wisdom ring to pack the box back? Did Mr. Ming send a living thing? That's not the case. Ziqing put the box on the counter. I'm just too lazy to put it in the wisdom ring space. Mainly because he has been doing strength training, as Uruman said in the past few days. He feels that his muscles all over his body are much more obvious than before, so he wanted to take this opportunity to show them off. It's a pity that Kaioshishi and Wen Jiu didn't notice it, so he had to find an excuse to fool him. After all, it's too embarrassing and humiliating to say such a thing out loud. Source. Today's second update has also been delivered smoothly, thanks again to the little angels for their support. 030. Chapter 1118 Yunshin Kingcha 2. Wen Jiu found out after unpacking the box that Ming Yahan had sent a whole box of drinks. This was a new drink called Yunshin Kingcha made from tea leaves from the 13th military region. She had received it once before, but that time she was trying it and giving her opinions. So Ming Yahan didn't send so much. But this time, the other party sent a full box, which made her a little confused for a while. So she decisively opened the light curtain panel and asked, and then she understood the meaning of Ming Yahan sending Yunshin Kingcha. Mr. Ming of Wuiao Food, there will definitely be a lot of people queuing on the opening day. You can use these Yunshin Kingcha as free drinks, and then send them out to soothe their anxiety. And Yunshin Kingcha is the first drink jointly launched by you and me. I believe that many of your fans will have a strong interest in it. It seems that he is thinking about her, but in fact Ming Yahan is making a profit. This behavior can not only win her favor, but also gain benefits for himself. It must be said that the other party is really a good material for business. Even so, she still adopted Ming Yahan's proposal. Anyway, Yunshin Kingcha has good sales, which is also a good thing for her, so why not do it? So she asked Ziqing to move the Yunshin Kingcha into the warehouse, and told her to remember to tell the monsters who come to the store to work tomorrow to use Yunshin Kingcha as a gift. Because Ming Yahan sent a small amount, each customer can get a small cup. In simple terms, taste it first, and if you think it tastes good, go to the supermarket to buy it. After inspecting the Zishan district branch, Wen Jiu took his friends to the other 2 branches for inspection. Busy, a day passed in a flash. When the morning sun appeared on the second day, it meant that Teoiao's 3 branches were officially opened. Because Teoiao's main store has already made a name for itself in Dongfang City, many customers got up early to line up at the branch to buy things. After learning the location of the branch, when Tongying dragged Kaiou Xiaoli to the Zishan district branch, they saw a long queue in front of the store. It's all your fault. You just need to dress up casually, but you insist on asking a makeup artist to come. Tongying pouted her cherry red lips in dissatisfaction. Anyway, photos can be retouched, and it doesn't matter whether you put on makeup or not. Now, I don't know how long we have to wait in line. Hearing this, Kaiou Xiaoli couldn't help but bite her pink lips. Teoao's business is so popular, you have to queue up whenever you come. The only difference is the length of time. She was not worried about running into Kaioshishi here, otherwise why would she start dressing up before dawn? But she didn't expect that her makeup artist had something urgent to do, so the other party arbitrarily replaced her with another makeup artist. The new makeup artist wasted a lot of time on the road, so when Tong-Aing arrived at her house, she was still sitting in the bedroom getting dressed. You are the only one who likes to quibble all day long. Dead arrogant. Tong-Aing snorted when she heard this. You are just worried about meeting your cousin here. What's there to be embarrassed about? Hearing this, Kaioshi's face instantly flushed. No, I'm not. I'm just afraid of running into acquaintances. If they see me with disheveled hair and unkempt face, they will definitely secretly take a photo and post it on the college forum. Although she was worried about meeting Kaioshishi, she would never admit it. Come on. I think you should save your energy. Your cousin is naturally beautiful. We can't compare with her. Tong-Aing dragged her to the end of the line. And you have such a beautiful cousin. You should ask her out more often for us to appreciate, instead of complaining like a grudge man all day long. If it were in the past, she would definitely get angry when she heard such words. Because what she hated most was that others compared her with Kaioshishi, especially in terms of appearance. No matter how hard she tried, she could not compare with Kaioshishi, who was as pretty as a doll. So every time she heard this, she would get furious like crazy. But now, she didn't know why. She didn't feel angry at all, and even thought Tong-Aing was right. Besides, what's the point of comparing looks? Kaioshishi doesn't care about this. Why should she keep caring about it? Wait, is she also bewitched by the other party's sweet appearance? No, it's impossible. She doesn't like Kaioshishi at all. She hates the other party the most. Just when she was thinking about it, she suddenly heard a sweet voice, and the other party's tone was almost the same as Kaioshishi, which made her subconsciously tense. But when she looked up, she found that the person who came was not Kaioshishi, but a girl with red eyes wearing a pink uniform. Good morning, ladies. Do you want to buy and pack the desserts, or buy and enjoy them in the store? Hearing this, Tong-Aing answered first. We want to buy and enjoy them in the store. Okay, Huzaomi smiled sweetly. This is your queue number card. It is expected to wait for 45 minutes. Please wait patiently. You can go around with your friends first. When it is your turn, the card will light up to remind you. Tong-Aing became depressed when she heard this. She really regretted not getting up earlier and not dragging Kaioshishi out of the house earlier. Although they were waiting in the mall now and could walk around to kill time, she still felt very unhappy. 45 minutes. She would rather wait to death. However, just as she was about to pull Kaioshishi to walk around with a droopy face, she suddenly saw the girl in charge of reception handing her 2 small paper cups. In addition, the other party also handed Kaioshishi 2 small paper bags. This is the gift we prepared for the opening event, and it is also the latest product launched by our Teoaio. I hope you like it. Hearing this, she immediately exchanged a paper cup with Kaioshishi's paper bag. Because they were a little thirsty at the moment, they both chose to drink first. The paper cup was filled with a clear yellowish liquid, and there was a faint aroma of tea when it was close. It's tea. Tong-Aing pouted a little disappointedly. I hate drinking tea the most. Kaioshishi shrugged indifferently. Try it first. What if it tastes good? Although she has only been to Teoaio a few times, she doesn't know why, but she trusts Teoaio's products very much. Well, first of all, it is ruled out that it was influenced by Kaioshishi. Okay, then I'll try the poison first. Tong-Aing frowned and drank the tea in the paper cup. The next second, her brows relaxed and her expression became happy. The tea was soft and not uncomfortable to drink and had a rich sweet fragrance without the bitterness she remembered. After swallowing, there was a faint sweetness that made her feel refreshed. BIU today's third update has also been delivered by the little author. Please check it out. Little Angels 030. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 11, 19,000 Layer Candied Date Cake 1. How come this tea doesn't have any bitterness at all, but instead has a faint sweetness? So strange. Tong Ying wanted to drink it in big gulps, but she only had such a small cup in her hand. If she really let go and drank it, she would finish it in just 2 sips. So she forced herself to taste the tea carefully, drinking the tea in small sips. Really? Why do I feel that it is still a little bitter, but it doesn't taste as astringent as other teas? Karo Xiaoli next to her was also tasting the tea seriously. Because her taste buds have always been more sensitive than others, she can still taste the bitterness hidden in the layers of sweetness in this cup of tea. However, this bitterness is not obvious, and it is not abrupt when mixed with the sweetness. Instead, it enhances the layering of the taste, making people not feel sick when drinking it. Sure enough, Teo Iao's products are good. Even the bitter tea that she doesn't like to drink on weekdays can be made mellow and sweet by Teo Iao. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but sigh softly. The flame of competition that had ignited in her heart was extinguished while she was slowly sipping tea. She suddenly felt that it was meaningless to compare with Kyo Shishi, and she didn't understand why she always liked to do something weird before. Annoying. Do you think I was particularly annoying before? She asked in a low voice with some disappointment, trying to get the answer from Tong Ying's mouth. However, the other party was busy trying new snacks and had no time to pay attention to her words. Good. Tong Ying just finished the tea in the cup and opened the light pink paper bag in her hand. There was something like a candied date in it. Although she didn't know what it was, she had great trust in Tao Yao and put the thing into her mouth without saying a word. At the moment, when the upper teeth touched the lower teeth, the crimson pastry cracked with a click. The soft candied date filling inside couldn't wait to emit a sweet aroma. Crispy and soft are 2 extremes, but this candied date pastry is well integrated, making people jump back and forth between 2 completely different tastes. The tip of the tongue was still wrapped in the slightly sweet crispy skin, and the next second, it was the dense and delicious filling. But what surprised Tong Ying the most was that in the candied date flavored filling, there were actually a few pine nuts. It was the appearance of these pine nuts that added a touch of tempting, burnt aroma to the sweet and non-greasy candied date filling. Why is there only one of this snack? Why not put more? The glutton in her stomach had just awakened, and she had eaten up the candied date pastry in the paper package. How could she live like this? How could she bear this? It hurts. It hurts so much. It hurts more than her last place in the final exam. Seeing this, Kyo Xiaoli couldn't help but smile helplessly. It's a taste test, that's it. Although she also wanted to eat more of this candied date-like snack, she would not say everything like Tong Ying. After all, her mother said that she should always maintain a good image and be a gentle lady so that it would be easier to find a partner in the future. Thinking of this, she was suddenly stunned. Why must she be a lady, and why must she find a partner? Can't she be herself and do what she wants? Just as she was lost in thought, she was suddenly patted on the back. She was so scared that she shrank back suddenly and almost knocked Tong Ying to the ground. PFFT. Kyo Xiaoli, you are too timid, aren't you? Hearing this, Kyo Xiaoli first helped Tong Ying stand steadily and then looked up. Tong Nana? What are you doing here? Although she and Tong Ying are good friends, she particularly dislikes Tong Nana. I'm here to buy something. Tong Nana rolled her eyes speechlessly. Why else would I come here? Do you think everyone is like you, secretly following their cousin and then telling the family about it? The Tong family and the Kyo family are comparable, and the parents of the 2 families often have business dealings, so everyone is usually in the same circle and is well informed of all kinds of news. For example, Kyo Shishi ran away from the banquet before, and Kyo Jiu broke off relations with the Kyo family. However, the most discussed gossip recently is Kyo Xiaoli's report to Zhang Mian. In fact, everyone didn't know about this at first. It was not until Zhang Mian was kicked out of the 3047 Academy some time ago that she accidentally let it slip when she was making a scene at Kao Xiaoli's house that everyone knew that there was such a thing. The adults in the circle all treated it as a joke, but the children took it to heart. After all, they are cousins. Even if you don't have a good relationship, you don't have to kill them, right? Tong Nana rolled her eyes again when she said this, and it can be seen that she really hates Kao Xiaoli now. Sister, don't say that about Xiaoli. She was ignorant at first. Tong Ying quickly stepped out to smooth things over. And Xiaoli has already apologized to her cousin, so I think it's better not to mention it. Tong Nana pouted unhappily when she heard this. You continue to defend Kao Xiaoli. When she betrays you one day, you will know how stupid you are now. After she finished speaking, she walked away with her friend. In fact, she originally wanted to use Tong Ying to cut in line, but the waiter in charge of reception would count the number of people, so even if she wanted to cut in line, she couldn't. So she put away her little thoughts and quietly lined up at the end of the line with her friend. Nana, aren't you worried that Xiaoying will be cheated? The friend lowered her voice deliberately for fear of affecting other people. I think the people in the Kao family have problems with their brains. It's a different era, and they still favor boys over girls. They always talk about marrying a good husband in the future, so you should keep Xiaoying away from Kao Xiaoli. I'm afraid that she will be affected by playing with Kao Xiaoli too much. Hearing this, she shrugged helplessly. I do want to, but you can see that Xiaoying just thinks Kao Xiaoli is good, and she won't break up, even if I tell her 800 times. Her relationship with Tong Ying is not like that of Kao Xiaoli and Kao Jiwen. They are sisters who have had a good relationship since childhood. So she had long advised Tong Ying to play less with people like Kao Xiaoli who have not evolved their brains. But the other party didn't listen. What could she do? Alas, it's not easy for you to be a sister. The friend sighed distressedly. Those people in the Kao family are really sick. Tong Nana was about to agree with a few words when she saw a beautiful waitress coming over. The other party first gave them number tags and sent them some products to taste. Oh my god. What kind of tea is this? She tasted the light yellow tea, which was refreshing and memorable. It's sweet, not bitter at all. Because the waiter hadn't walked far away, the other party smiled and replied, this is Yunshan Kingcha. If you need it, you can ask the waiter to place an order. After entering the store, ding ding ding, today's first update is delivered on time. Please check it out, little angels. Chapter 11, 20,000 layer candied date cake 2. Tong Nana was not the only one who was conquered by Yunshan Kingcha. All the customers who had tasted Yunshan Kingcha during the queue, the first thing they did when they entered the store was to find the waiter to place an order. Therefore, the dog demons who were originally working had to separate 2 dog demons to register the orders for these customers. The main reason was that Yunshan Kingcha was not produced by Teo Iao, so Wen Jiu made such a rule. After all, Teo Iao's own drinks still had to be sold, and they couldn't always promote Wuiao Foods products. However, customers were not only attracted by Yunshan Kingcha, but many of them were also scrambling to buy Kainseng candied dates cake. Hello. I have applied for a senior membership at Teo Iao before. Can you give me 5 boxes of this snack? Tong Nana didn't know what the snack she had just eaten was, so she could only put the small paper bag on the counter. Seeing this, Tu King, who was responsible for introducing desserts and checking out this week, immediately smiled and said, sure, this is the new dessert Kainseng honey peach cake that our Teo Iao has just launched. She first introduced the Kainseng honey peach cake to Tong Nana and then asked her to show her senior membership card. This is the secret of hospitality that Kao Shishi taught her. Treat guests with courtesy first and then slowly talk about star coins. As expected, Tong Nana, who was a little impatient because of waiting for a long time, was very satisfied. Meng, do you think Teo Iao staff are getting better and better? Both their appearance and service attitude are getting better. Tong Nana walked aside with the menu. After she finished speaking, her friends who came with her whispered in agreement. Yes, I feel that the staff hired by Teo Iao boss are all good looking. Hey, Nana, do you think this boss is a face control? Point shouldn't be. She blinked uncertainly. Maybe it's just a coincidence? Although any of Teo Iao's waiters can make a place in the star entertainment circle, she still doesn't believe that Teo Iao's boss is a face control. Because Teo Iao's boss is sacred and flawless in her heart, she thinks that the other party is not a person who judges people by appearance. At first, she didn't know that Wen Jiu restaurant and Teo Iao's boss were the same person, so she was sad for a long time when Wen Jiu restaurant announced its closure. Later, when she was browsing Xingbo, she learned that the owner of Wen Jiu restaurant was the owner of Teo Iao, and the other party was only 2 or 3 years older than her. Not only that, this boss turned out to be the famous food anchor Gongzi Fa-Ke. Gongzi Fa-Ke, Sister Fa-Ke, a big anchor who can have tens of millions of viewers rush to taste food in a live broadcast. Tong Nana used to wonder why the dishes made by Gongzi Fa-Ke were so similar to those of Wen Jiu restaurant. Later, the real information of Gongzi Fa-Ke was partially exposed, and she found out that the other party was the owner of Wen Jiu restaurant. It's really a painstaking effort to find it. She actually ate the dishes made by Gongzi Fa-Ke for dozens of days in a row, which made her friends who like Gongzi Fa-Ke envious and cry. So now she has a spontaneous admiration for Teo Iao's boss, the famous Gongzi Fa-Ke. If you say it's a coincidence, then it's a coincidence. Her friend knew her thoughts very well. I heard that Teo Iao's boss is a student of 3047 college, but he hasn't been to school for 2 semesters. I don't know whether he transferred to another school or the other party didn't say the last 2 words, as if he was worried that the people around him would hear it. But she still understood what her friend wanted to say. The other party probably wanted to say something like taking a leave of absence. Don't make so many blind guesses. She quickly turned around and glared at her friend. What happens to others has nothing to do with us. We just need to eat dessert well. As soon as she finished speaking, she saw 2 girls walking in at the door. The girl walking in front had long straight black hair, a faint pink on her snow-like face, and a pair of black and bright eyes full of smiles. The light purple and grey pink spliced sweater was full of playfulness, adding some agility to the other party's original sweetness. The girl behind had a pair of grey blue eyes, and a cold and fierce color at the slightly upturned end of her eyes, which was completely different from the friendly and sweet feeling of the girl in front. But the most eye-catching thing is the 2 slightly protruding fangs under the other party's moist red lips, and the pointed ears that are faintly visible in the white hair. Point this, can't it be the legendary new species of hybrid? Tong Nana was still sighing in her heart at the beauty of the girl in front of her when she heard her friend suddenly come over and say this. She immediately felt speechless. Although there are more planets and more species, there is no so-called new species of hybrid. Do you understand reproductive isolation? However, just when she wanted to respond to her friend in a low voice, she saw these 2 girls with completely different auras, walking quickly in her direction. Seeing this, she couldn't help but hold her friend's hand tightly. The next second, the sweet girl walking in front smiled and said to the waiter next to her, "King King, how is the business today?" She was relieved when she heard this, and then she took the packed desserts and rushed to the door with her friend. "I've told you 800 times, don't talk nonsense outside," she dared to speak after she walked out of Teo Iao. "If it's that, hey, is that beautiful Sister Kao Shishi?" The main reason is that she was really guilty just now, so she didn't observe the person carefully. Now she relaxed, and then she remembered the face that made her feel good at first sight. After saying that, her friend thought about it for a moment before nodding. "It seems so. I have an impression. Hey, did you see the beautiful sister behind you clearly?" "Actually, I didn't say that to you with malice. I just think she is very beautiful, and beautiful a little." "Forget it. I can't think of the right words to describe it." After thinking for a long time, it seems that I still have to take cultural courses seriously. Anyway, she is pretty comparable to Kao Shishi. Tong Nana remembered that the girl walking behind was cold and had an aura that was difficult to approach, but she was indeed pretty. Unlike Kao Shishi, who was as cute as a spring daisy, the other party was more like a thorny rose blooming in winter. Bright and beautiful, yet as cold as snow. Forget it. Forget it. Stop talking. Let's go home first. When she thought of the pair of grey blue eyes staring at her, she felt a fear that she wanted to leave here quickly. So she directly pulled her friend and rushed to the entrance of the mall and didn't even pay attention to Tong Ying, who greeted her. However, what she didn't know was that the girl who scared her was Gong Zifake herself, the boss of Tao Yao, and the idol in her heart. Source. Today's second update is also delivered. Thank you to every little angel for your support and love. 030. Whisper. The third update is a bit stuck. I'm typing with all my strength cac. If you don't see the third update appear, it means that the third update is still on the way. QWQ. Chapter 11, 21,000 layer candied dates cake 3. Why did those two girls run away just now? Wen Jiu looked at the door with some doubts. Have they packed all the desserts they want? They run so fast. Don't forget anything. As soon as she entered the door, she noticed that there was a long line at the food pickup counter. So she was thinking about whether to add more jade rabbits, so that the speed of making desserts can be faster, and the speed of customers picking up their food can also be faster. Who knew that she was still silently planning, and saw the two girls at the front of the line ran out of Taoiao like a gust of wind. Hearing this, Kaioshishi, who had just taken 2 bottles of Yunshin Kincture, replied, maybe there is something urgent to do. I just asked the dog RC who is responsible for packing the desserts, and he said that everything is packed and nothing is left behind. Wen Jiu was relieved after hearing this. After all, the most important thing in doing business is sincerity. So first of all, the quality of the product must be guaranteed, and secondly, the service attitude must be in place. She was just worried that the two girls ran too fast, and if they left anything behind, she could help deliver it. The business of the Zishan branch is also good, much better than we expected. Kaioshishi handed one of the bottles of Yunshin Kincture to Wen Jiu. Do you want to go to the dining area on the 2nd and 3rd floors? Because the Zishan branch has a total of 3 floors, Wen Jiu did not reserve seats on the 1st floor. She renovated the 2nd and 3rd floors into dining areas so that customers can sit down quietly and enjoy the food without worrying about being disturbed by those customers waiting in line. This is a special transformation she absorbed from the experience of the Taoiao head office. After all, customers will inevitably make noise when queuing, which can easily affect those customers who like quiet. Therefore, the 1st floor of the Zishan branch is now mainly used for customers to queue and for employees to work, rest, and store ingredients. Since you are here, let's go upstairs and take a look. After Wen Jiu finished speaking, she walked towards the stairs. She came here specifically to check the business of the branch today, so she naturally had to stroll around the dining area and take this opportunity to find out what customers think of the branch. So she and Kaioshishi went to the 2nd and 3rd floors respectively, so that they could check the business situation much faster. After all, 3 branches were opened at the same time this time, and they had to go to other branches next, so they had to hurry up. Kaioshishi had just entered the dining area on the 2nd floor when she saw many customers enjoying desserts. Everyone had a happy smile on their faces, and it could be seen that everyone was still very satisfied with Taoiao. However, the work that should be done still had to be done. She randomly found a few customers to ask questions in the name of giving small gifts. The progress was still very smooth at the beginning, until she saw a familiar figure. Kaioshishi? She deliberately walked closer so that she could see clearly. It's you. Although Kaioshishi always deliberately targeted her before and often did some inexplicable things, she actually had no ill feelings towards her because she felt that Kaioshishi was also very pitiful. She had been brainwashed by her family with feudal ideas since she was a child, so that her mind was full of marrying a good husband in the future, and the most important thing for a girl was to be gentle and virtuous. So she went from hating her to being indifferent to her a long time ago. Kaioshishi was tasting the 1000-layer candied date pastry when she heard Kaioshishi's voice. She was so scared that she dropped her fork on the ground. Although she had prepared herself to meet Kaioshishi before she came, she was still a little frightened by her sudden appearance. After all, she did something wrong to Kaioshishi. Even if she had forgiven her and didn't care about it, she still had a hurdle in her heart. Unlike Kaioshishi's silence and fear, Tong Aing smiled and waved her arm to greet Kyo-shishi the moment she saw her. Because Tong Aing really liked Kyo-shishi, she admired her courage to resist her parents. So when Teo-Iao just opened, she often took other friends to Teo-Iao to buy desserts, so that she could meet Kyo-shishi naturally. As for why she didn't take Kyo-Iao to Teo-Iao, the Kyo family was fighting endlessly during that time, and she really didn't want to embarrass her good friend and her favorite good sister. Zioing is here too. Kyo-shishi came over and handed over a box of our signature peach blossom pastry. Here, this is a gift for lucky customers when our branch opens. She seemed not to notice Kyo-Iale's silence and just kept smiling as she began to ask Tong Aing questions. Kyo-Iale didn't say a word until she finished asking questions, but she didn't care about it. After nodding politely and thanking her and saying some polite words, she continued to look for other customers. Kyo-Iale was like these strange customers to her. She only needed to do her job well. As for other things, she really didn't want to care. Then she asked a few more customers. After learning about everyone's comments on the new desserts and the service attitude of the branch staff, she slowly walked down to the first floor to wait for Wen Jiu. I just found 10 customers, 8 of them like the candied date cake very much, and only 2 don't like it very much. They think the candied date cake is too sweet, and they feel a little sick after eating a few. Passion fruit honey tea and Yunshin Kingcha have both received 100% positive reviews. It seems that customers still prefer desserts and drinks with a slightly lower sweetness, so I think we can consider launching more of this type in the future. After a round of inquiries, Kyo-shishi and Wen Jiu left the Zishan district branch. She told the other party about her inquiry results while walking, and didn't mention that she had just met Kyo-Iale and Tong Aing. Although there are almost few delicious foods on low-level planets, this does not prevent customers who come to Teo-Iao from being picky. However, Wen Jiu did not agree with her suggestion. The other party said that everyone's taste is different, and there should be no bias because of some groups. But she thinks that the tastes of customers also need to be considered. After all, Teo-Iao's desserts can only be sold if someone likes them. So the two of them rarely had a disagreement, and they kept discussing in a low voice on the way to the Donghu district branch. Of course, discussions are discussions, and they will not have conflicts because of this. I understand that you want Teo-Iao's business to be better, but the desserts and drinks that Teo-Iao sells now are already very popular with customers, so I don't think it's necessary to change deliberately. When Jiu expressed her thoughts seriously, she thought that, as long as they make good desserts and drinks, customers who like them will naturally come to buy them. Besides, Teo-Iao doesn't only sell one kind of dessert or drink. So customers who come to Teo-Iao have many choices. Even if some customers don't like tea, they can choose other drinks. Chapter 11:22 Everyone has their own busyness 1. After Wen Jiu and Kyo-shishi strolled around the 3 branches, they took the floating bus back to their home in Zishan district, which was the quaint villa. Since when Jiu moved into the villa in Zishan district, she rarely went back to Donghu Garden in Donghu district. So when Sister Chen saw her some time ago, she thought she was busy with school and had no time to go home. Now the house in Donghu Garden is idle, so she has been thinking about whether to rent it out and earn some rent. But after all, it was the first house she bought, and she would definitely rent it to someone who cherishes the house, so she hasn't been able to rent it out yet. Sister Jiu, why don't you just leave the house idle? Said Zikingayu, who was lying on the sofa with no desire to live. The people who came to see the house today were all very ruthless. Some kept pulling heavy jet to lower the rent, and some started to touch and rummage as soon as they entered the door, which made me speechless. The reason why he and Chujian didn't go to the branch to check today was because they helped Wen Jiu receive the people who came to see the house. Actually, the rent that Wen Jiu offered was quite low, but there were still people who wanted to lower the rent by half, and there were quite a few such people. Upon hearing this, Ziziu, who was playing games, took the time to reply. The overall economy of planet 3047 has not been very good recently, so it is normal for so many people to continue to lower the price. Wen Jiu, if you want to rent out the house, but don't want to lower the price, why not wait until the economy gets better before renting it out? Since he was the one who introduced this villa to Wen Jiu, he had the right to occupy a room. Usually, he would come and stay when he was free. It happened that he got off work early today and had no social events to attend, so he drove his hovercraft over here. That's fine. Wen Jiu put the mapo tofu that Ukiki had just made on the table. I'm not in a hurry to rent it out anyway. The rent she offered was already a quarter lower than the market price. If it was any lower, she might as well leave it idle. After that, Kaioshishi asked, Brother Z, hasn't the economy of planet 3047 always been stable? Why did it suddenly go wrong recently? Because she had been planning to completely leave the Kao family a long time ago. She had been paying close attention to economic news. After all, if she wanted to sever ties with her original family, she had to be financially independent first. And even if she didn't leave the Kao family, she didn't want to be a lazy young lady. She still liked to learn knowledge. Whether it was military or economics, as long as she thought it was useful, she would work hard to learn it. Ahem, it's actually nothing serious. Zizio had just cleared the last level, so he turned off his light screen panel and began to seriously teach a few children about science. Although planet 3047 was a low-level planet, and it was at the bottom of the list, its economic situation was indeed quite stable. As for why it suddenly went wrong, it was mainly related to the 11th military region. Because most planets were managed by military regions, once there was a problem with the military region, it would be easy for the planet to be implicated. What happened in the 11th military district? Why didn't I hear any news? Zikingayu interrupted with a bewildered look on her face. Hearing this, Ziziu could not help but pinch his brows speechlessly. Something happened in the 11th military district. Do we have to notify you specifically? Who do you think you are? Forget it. Anyway, this incident didn't cause much impact. It just happened to be related to planet 3047. The economy and other aspects will return to normal in a while, so you kids should study when you should study and work in the store when you should work. He felt that he was really confused to chat about social and economic topics with a few kids who were still studying in the preparatory military academy. Then why is it related to planet 3047? Kaioshishi rarely failed to keep to the point. Our planet 3047 is just a low-level planet with no sense of existence. It doesn't even rank among the planets managed by the 11th military region. How is it involved? He raised his hand and pinched his eyebrows again when he heard this. How about this? I'll give each of you a red envelope and you can just pretend that I didn't say anything just now. He had been annoyed by the overall economic downturn these days, so he didn't want to talk about this topic when he had a rare chance to relax. After saying that, Kaioshishi didn't ask any more questions this time. She just clicked on the light curtain panel with Zikingayu, pretending to be obedient and waiting to receive the red envelope. Wen Jiu didn't even raise his eyelids and turned around and walked slowly towards the kitchen. But before she left, she still left a message asking Ziziu to just send the red envelope to her directly and she would open the light curtain panel to receive it later. The main reason was that she didn't know much about economic matters, so she just listened carefully and didn't participate in the discussion. Moreover, the overall economic downturn of planet 3047 didn't affect her much, so she didn't want to continue to ask Ziziu's intentions. After all, her money-making career was not limited to planet 3047. She currently makes money by doing live broadcasts on the Star Network, collecting company dividends, and completing orders from TeoIAO's online store in the Star Network world. As for the star coins earned from TeoIAO's offline store, it is less than 1/10 of these incomes. Master, wait until I finish this steamed juhu fish, and then we can have dinner. Hukiki put the braised eggplant on the table, and then began to cut the green onion shreds to be sprinkled on the yuhu fish. Although he and Hubaba didn't have to go to TeoIAO to work in the near future, the two monsters still had the work of teaching unqualified monsters. Therefore, he didn't go to the branch today. He and Hubaba took a special car early in the morning to go to the shelter to carry out education work. Hearing this, Wen Jiu smiled and picked up the braised eggplant. Okay, then take your time, don't rush, don't burn yourself. Since she had Hukiki as her apprentice, she has been going to the kitchen less and less. It's not that she is lazy, but she wants her to practice more. After all, cooking requires more practice, and it's useless to just listen to theory. Just as she walked out of the kitchen with the braised eggplant, she saw Stephanie coming over with an unhappy face. Seeing this, she couldn't help but ask curiously, "What's wrong? Did you encounter something unhappy?" Because Stephanie has been busy with her during this period, she has delayed several psychological counseling arranged by Ruman, so she had to go to the counselor to punch in today, so as not to waste all the previous psychological counseling. Woo 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 woo. Stephanie began to cry as soon as she saw Wen Jiu, but she tried hard for a long time, but no tears came down. So she could only wail dryly, Jiu, I really don't want to go to the tutoring office anymore. That tutor is so annoying. She actually didn't let me dismember little bug. Chapter 11:23. Everyone has their own busyness too. Wen Jiu sometimes couldn't understand Stephanie's train of thought, so she couldn't help but put on a stiff smile after hearing her wailing. But she didn't say anything after all, just asked her to do a good job of tutoring. Then she went back to the kitchen to help Hukiki finish, and waited until all the dishes were ready, before calling everyone to eat. Everyone has their own things to do recently, so they are inevitably hungry, after working hard all day. As soon as they sat at the table, they took their bowls, and buried their heads in eating, until they ate the dishes on the plate cleanly. Then they came back to their senses, and started chatting with the people around them. Seeing that there was more than a month left before the spring festival, Wen Jiu started thinking alone, after eating too much. In fact, she spent the spring festival last year in a hurry. After all, it was the first spring festival she spent without her senior brothers, sisters, and masters after coming to this strange world, so she was not in a particularly good mood at that time. In addition, Hei became Chujian, so she didn't enjoy the holidays in the following few days. So in general, there are still regrets. But it doesn't matter, it's okay to make up for last year's regrets this year. So she was seriously planning how to spend this year's spring festival. Brother Hei, do you want to bring Grandpa Chu over to stay for a while during the spring festival? Hearing this, Chujian, who was playing games, immediately looked up. Well, if the old man wants to come, I will naturally bring him over. Although he didn't understand why Wen Jiu suddenly asked about the spring festival, he still answered the other party's question seriously. Sister Jiu, do you want Grandpa Chu to spend the spring festival here? Zikingai tapped the table with sudden realization. Then can I bring my parents over? In this way, I can stay here for the spring festival. And I don't have to go back to attend those annoying parties. Since the White family and the Liu family both fell, the Z family temporarily ranked first among the families on planet 3047. Therefore, although there is still more than a month before the spring festival, Zikingai's parents have already received countless invitations. Most of them invited Zikingai and Zizio. After all, the former was the well-known little baby of the Z family, and the latter was the future heir of the Z family. Zizio had no objection to attending the banquet, because as the future heir of the Z family, it was his duty to attend the banquet to maintain business relationships. But Zikingai was different. He would not inherit the family business in the future, and did not need to maintain business relationships. Therefore, he was very reluctant to attend the banquet, and would find a way to escape if he could. After he finished speaking, Ziziu, who was handling official business on the light screen panel, couldn't help but chuckle. You can build as much as you want relying on your parents' love. If they can agree to come here for the spring festival, I will give you the new light meteor of the Rick group as a spring festival gift. Okay, that's what you said. Zikingai raised his chin unwillingly. Ziziu, just wait to buy me a meteor. I will bring my parents here to celebrate the spring festival. Zizio laughed even harder when he heard this. Haha, then I'll wait. I hope you can hurt my face a little. After he finished speaking, Zikingai immediately made a disgusted expression and said, you are too perverted. How could someone make such a request? Please go out, and don't say you are my brother. Don't ruin my reputation. These two brothers always quarrel when they meet. So Wen Jiu and others have long been accustomed to it and have no intention of speaking out to stop it. It's just that Wen Jiu has mentioned the preparations for the spring festival, so everyone temporarily stopped what they were doing and began to talk about their ideas and plans enthusiastically. Wen Jiu was the first to mention the spring festival, but she mainly wanted to get friends and family together. As for other plans, she didn't have any ideas to mention. So after she said a few simple words, she changed from a speaker to a listener. On the contrary, Stephanie, who everyone thought would not participate in the discussion, became the speaker who expressed the most ideas. It's just that. Feng, actually your ideas are all pretty good, but it's a little difficult to implement them. Kyoshi tried her best to keep herself calm, so as not to make Stephanie, who was rarely positive, sad. After the words fell, Zizu on the side also echoed, yes. For example, using firecrackers to blow up people. Physical fireworks and firecrackers were banned in the city a long time ago. Now only electronic fireworks are allowed for viewing. Really? Why didn't I know? Stephanie twisted her fingers a little aggrieved, but I used to use firecrackers to blow up people every spring festival. After this, everyone pursed their lips, fearing that after they told the truth, they would hurt this poor girl who had been locked up in the nursery base and had almost no contact with the outside world. Only when Jiu spoke very calmly, maybe the rules of each planet are different. Anyway, it is not allowed to do this on planet 3047. If you really want to set off fireworks and firecrackers, we can buy some electronic ones back. She did not directly tell Stephanie that it was wrong to do so, because she knew that the other party's brain circuit was originally different from that of ordinary people, so she thought it was unnecessary to say it. Besides, the reason why Stephanie is precisely because the other party's brain circuit is different from that of ordinary people. If Stephanie is forced to correct her behavior, unpredictable bad results will occur. Therefore, even the psychological counseling arranged by Uruman only slightly interferes with the other party's ideas and does not use means to force correction. Well, Stephanie blinked a little disappointedly. Then what if I cook a reunion dinner with you? There should be no rules prohibiting this, right? Hearing this, Kyoshi and Zikingayu couldn't help but look at each other. After confirming their eyes, they were the same people who had diarrhea and pain in their heads. Kiki and Baba, who were playing with the fox body, also held their breath involuntarily at this time, as if they were waiting for the death sentence to come. How about this? We will each cook a dish at that time. When Jiu thought for a long time before giving a reply. You have to let others feel a little involved, right? So we each cook a dish and then make a reunion dinner together. How about it? You have to know that her patience with Stephanie is limited, and letting the other party cook only one dish is her biggest concession. Although the pills she made could resist Stephanie's food, she didn't want everyone to be tortured during the new year. Besides, every time she made a pill, one of the alchemy furnaces was persecuted, and she only had 3 alchemy furnaces left, so she had to use them sparingly, because she had to make new pills for Mirage Star River in a few days. So for her and everyone else's sake, she let Stephanie suffer. Chapter 11:24. I haven't seen Sunbadeo for a long time. 1. After discussing how to spend the spring festival this year, when Jiu and her friends went their separate ways, although everyone is still on vacation, there are still many things to do. For example, when Jiu herself not only has to communicate with Wan Nan at the shelter center, asking the monsters living in the dormitory building whether they are well behaved and whether they have done anything strange. She also has to make a video call with Ming Yehan, first telling him about the opening of the Taoiao branch, and then talking about the listing of Yunshan Kingcha. In addition to these business matters, she also has to care about the construction of the Desolate Star. The development of routes and star tracks is already in progress, and it is not known how long it will take to complete, but she still has to know the progress she should know. After finishing all this, she has to communicate with Lulu of Bakur about adjusting the live broadcast time. Because she has now returned to planet 3047, she can broadcast more time than before. In order to allow her fans who love her to watch the live broadcast in time, she must confirm a new time with Lulu and broadcast according to this time in the near future. Fortunately, Lulu and the money lovers were used to it. She changed the time every once in a while, so communication was relatively smooth. Afterwards, she also went to the Star Network world, one to expand the scale of Taoiao online store, and the other to pay back the debt she owed to the Starlight Night Market. There was no other way, because she had promised Len Jiu before that she would come to the Starlight Night Market once a week as Sunbadeo to open a stall. Because her signal on the Desolate Star was not very stable before, she could communicate with the Star Network, but could not enter the Star Network world to set up a stall, so she would come to the Starlight Night Market to pay back her debts whenever she was free, to pay back the debt she owed for opening a stall once a week when she was on the Desolate Star. Fortune telling, divination, drawing talismans and writing. The price is fair. Welcome to ask. After changing into the image of Sunbadeo, Wen Jiu began to shout while stroking his beard and gently waving a paper fan. This paper fan was made by herself in her spare time, and the 4 words attract wealth and treasure on it were also written by her. It was to be used when she became Sunbadeo, so that she could create a domineering and otherworldly look. But she forgot that things were different now. As soon as she got the pose right, a large group of people came to watch. Is it him? He is Master Sunbadeo, right? It should be him. The Starlight Night Market now prohibits anyone from impersonating Sunbadeo. Anyone who dares to impersonate will be arrested immediately. Master Sun? You are Master Sun, right? Can you sell me a peach blossom talisman? I have been single for 40 years and still unmarried. I beg you to sell me a peach blossom talisman so that I can experience the life of having a partner. Go away. Who is this person who is trying to cut in line? Can you have some manners? Master Sun, I'm 38 years old this year. I have elderly parents and young children to take care of, but I was fired by a black-hearted company some time ago. I hope you can be so kind as to sell me a fortune-making talisman so that I can make some money to support my whole family. The dead bald guy in front had the nerve to accuse others of playing the victim, but he almost took out the cancer diagnosis certificate. Master Sun, you can't believe this kind of person. Wen Jiu hadn't been surrounded by people for a long time. If she hadn't been accustomed to the noise of those monsters, she would have been angry and asked people to stay away. Alright. Line up in order. She slammed the paper fan shut and tapped the table twice. If you have anything to say, wait until it's your turn. By the way, playing the victim won't work on me. In terms of misery, who could be as miserable as she was when she first arrived in this world? She had to make a living by picking up garbage and selling scraps every day. It was difficult to find a pair of shoes that fit her feet. She had to live in an abandoned floating bus and drink the cheapest nutrient solution to barely fill her stomach. Under such circumstances, let alone entering the Star Network world, she couldn't even afford a wisdom ring. And these people in front of her could at least use the wisdom ring to enter the Star Network world. So no matter how poor and miserable they were, they couldn't be poorer than she was before. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but frowned in displeasure. You, and you, get out. I won't take you guys. She was actually playing the victim. She really didn't care about her face to deceive Zhang Fu. Why? The man who had said he had been single for 40 years shouted in dissatisfaction when he heard this. Wen Jiu only glanced at the man. You violated my rules for taking jobs, so I don't want to take it, understand? After he finished speaking, the other party couldn't help but sneered. Master Sun, do you think I can't afford your peach blossom charm? If I had known, I would have come here wearing a brand name suit, but I didn't expect to be driven away for wearing something comfortable and cheap. Hearing this, Wen Jiu's mood became even worse at the moment. My fortune-telling stall doesn't accept everyone. The old customers in the past all know that I don't accept 3 things. You don't know the rules and still come to line up. Now I tell you, you think I look down on you. Can you control your persecution delusion? She was already tired enough after a busy day, and now setting up a stall in the Star Network world is overtime, which means she is even more tired. Therefore, she really didn't have the time to reason properly. After she vented her anger, she called the patrol personnel. Sunbadeo, what do you mean? We have been waiting here for a long time. Why do you say you don't want to answer the call? The man who said he was poor and destitute immediately shouted like the previous man when he saw the patrolman appear, trying to morally blackmail Wen Jiu. Because many people who come to Xinguang night market now come here to find Sun Badao to tell fortunes. In addition, there were many people standing in line nearby just now, so these words instantly attracted many people to watch. Don't you understand what I'm saying? Wen Jiu impatiently threw out 2 talismans and directly sealed the mouths of the 2 people who shouted. I don't accept anyone who uses virtual images. Second, I don't accept anyone who makes trouble in front of my stall. And third, I don't accept anyone who deliberately sells misery to cheat the price. If you don't ask about the rules before you come, don't blame me for asking the patrolman to drive you away. She didn't drive people away for no reason. Although these people selling misery made her upset, she didn't drive them away on the spot. The reason why she named them directly was mainly because she saw that these people all had traces of virtual images. You know, since she first started to set up the stall, she said that she would not accept customers with virtual images, so as to avoid mistakes when fortune telling. If these people really wanted to ask her for fortune telling and buy talismans, they would definitely ask about the rules before coming. Chapter 11:25. I haven't seen Sun Badao for a long time too. As soon as Wen Jiu finished speaking, some of the onlookers who wanted to speak up for justice immediately stopped, and the few people she pointed out were taken away by the patrol personnel. Seeing this, she waved her paper fan lazily. Okay, stop watching. Those who want to have their fortunes told and buy talismans should line up quickly. Those who don't need them should stop standing here and do what they should do. As soon as these words came out, those who wanted to have their fortunes told and buy talismans quickly lined up in front of the stall in an orderly manner. The leader was a young man with a beard, and it was not difficult to see that he had been having a hard time recently. So Wen Jiu immediately took out the fortune stick tube. Brother, I see that you have red eyes, your forehead is covered with black, and your face is as green as a green leaf. I'm afraid that a disaster will come in the near future. Come, draw a lot first, and I will help you calculate it in detail. After speaking, the man in front of him hesitated for a long time, then shook his head and said slowly, Master Sun, I want to ask you to help me calculate my fortune, or sell me a fortune-making talisman. I know that my time is coming, so I want to leave more star coins for my family before I leave. When she heard this, she frowned in disapproval. Brother, you are going to die. What do you need star coins for? Even if I'm willing to sell you a fortune-making talisman, you don't have the life to save the star coins you earn. In fact, she usually does not interfere with the choices of customers who come to the stall. As long as she is not forced to sell talismans, she is too lazy to say anything more. The reason why she intervened in the man's choice was mainly because she found the other party's fate very interesting. He should have lived a life of wealth and prosperity, but now he has ended up in poverty. She has only met Zenfu in all her time, but Zenfu's situation is a little different from that of this man. The former was harmed by a villain and his feng shui was ruined, which resulted in the failure of the fortune gathering in his fate to play out, and was instead suppressed by the loss of wealth in the feng shui pattern, so he has not been able to earn star coins for so many years. The latter's fate was destroyed by someone, and the original fortune gathering turned into a fortune killing. But, the man's hesitation became stronger after hearing these words, and a blush appeared on his thin cheeks. But I don't have so many star coins. He was so poor that he couldn't even afford to live in the medical cabin. If he wasn't afraid that someone would attack his family after he died of illness, he wouldn't have taken the few remaining star coins to find the legendary omnipotent Sun Badao. But he felt that no matter how powerful Sun Badao was, he couldn't pull him back from the gates of hell. So he just wanted to try to get a fortune-bringing talisman, so that his family would have star coins to run farther away, and they would have a better life after he died of illness. But he didn't dare to say these words to Sun Badao. After all, he had just seen him drive away those people who were selling misery. It was only at this moment, when Sun Badao offered to save his life, that he hesitated, and said that he had no star coins. Point, I won't steal your star coins. Don't act like you are afraid of me. Seeing the man in front of her shrinking, Wen Jiu couldn't help but feel that she was bullying a decent man. So she moved her eyes to the table, picked up the fortune stick tube and shook it a few times casually, making a crisp sound to ease the atmosphere. If you really want to buy a fortune bringing talisman, it's fine, but the star coins for buying a talisman are much more expensive than those for drawing lots. And don't blame me for not reminding you that your fate is destined to not be able to keep wealth, so this talisman may not be useful after you buy it back. There is a saying that it is difficult to persuade a damned ghost with good words. If the man was really determined to just want the fortune-making charm, she would not bother to care about anything more. There were so many poor people in the world, and she couldn't save them all one by one. Fortunately, the man finally listened to her and paid 6,000 star coins for a chance to draw a fortune. With a snap, a bamboo stick painted with black paint appeared on Wen Jiu's desk. Seeing this, she just picked up the bamboo stick calmly and said, "Don't look at the fortune yet. Pick up the holy cup next to you and throw it 3 times. It will only be considered a lucky fortune if you succeed in all 3 throws." After hearing this, the man in front of her quickly picked up the holy cup next to him and threw it. After the holy cup succeeded in all 3 throws, she began to interpret the fortune for him. It will take time to go out and seek advice, and you will worry about troubles. It's like a bird flying into a net. How long will it take to escape? 1. This fortune was better than she expected. At least it didn't directly cut off the man's life. So she asked slowly, "Are the children at home obedient?" The other party did not expect her to ask such a question suddenly. "They are all very obedient. Master Sun, is this fortune related to my children? But I clearly asked for my own destiny. Could it be that something went wrong with the previous step?" Hearing this, she did not rush to answer, but asked the man in front of her for his surname and date of birth. Because the date of birth is not popular in the interstellar world, the other party could only provide a year, month, and day. But it doesn't matter, these are enough. First of all, this fortune means that you should not avoid problems. Everyone has their own responsibilities. Especially for parents like you. You should live well for your children, instead of holding the mentality that you will die sooner or later, and just do nothing, and wait for death silently. 2. Hearing this, Nan Cheokun was stunned for a moment. Because before he came to see Sun Badao, he did have this mentality. He felt that his life was a complete failure, and now he was suffering from illness, and dragging down his family. So he thought that whatever he did was useless, and it would be better to die quickly to get relief sooner. The reason why he came to Sun Badao to buy the fortune charm was that when he still had star coins and lived in the medical cabin, he heard others say how magical the charm was, so he wanted to try to buy one as a legacy for his family. If it really works, then at least he has made some contribution to his family before he dies. If it is useless, then his family will not be too sad after his death. After all, who would truly miss a person who can only leave a piece of torn paper as a legacy for the rest of his life? Thinking of this, he couldn't help but feel more melancholy. Just the next second, he heard Sun Badao continue to say, "Your predicament is not unsolvable. As long as you are willing to muster up the courage to face it, I still have a way to help you." Really? In his turbid eyes full of red bloodshot, there was a rare ray of hope. "Master Sun, are you telling the truth?" End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.